soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. The warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. The whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Do or die, you're a mercenary. One of a kind, that's your burden to carry. Go and make them proud, do what's necessary. Oh no, do or die, you're a mercenary. Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you gotta take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Really needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Still your heart so much to prove.
If it's Thursday, it's time for Mystic Racing League. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the Slingshot Racing media booth by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp. Tonight, we're bringing you race number 24 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series live from the gritty, narrow turns here in Darlington, South Carolina. Dubbed the track too tough to tame, Darlington Speedway lives up to its fearsome reputation. This iconic circuit, it's a relentless challenge, unforgiving battlefield where even the slightest misjudgment can exact a steep toll. Errors here occur in the blink of an eye, and their consequences are severe. Even the seasoned drivers who can navigate this 1.36-mile circuit unscathed still usually carry a Darlington Stripe as a badge of honor. It's a testament to their close encounters with the unforgiving walls. Darlington's a proving ground like no other. What sets this track apart is its unique egg-shaped design. It was a masterful engineering feat back in the day that gracefully accommodated the constraints of a highway up to the north and a pond to the southwest. This track is a testament to the marriage of both innovation and racing tradition. Darlington's been an integral part of the NASCAR Premier Series since its inauguration back in 1950. Back then, it was one of just two paved ovals in NASCAR, and the only one exceeding over half a mile in length. Darlington was, in essence, the birthplace of the super speedway concept in stock car racing. Prior to the legendary Daytona 500 back in '59, the Southern 500 reigned supreme as the most prestigious and lucrative race on the calendar. Its history is rich with legendary moments, none more captivating than that one back in 2003 between Kurt Busch, who clinched a victory over Ricky Craven by just 2/1000ths of a second. Chris, the original grandstands from 1958 are still in use today, and not much has really changed about this track since the beginning. It was a challenge then, and just as much, if not more of one now for these drivers. What are they going to have to do for these 146 laps tonight to make it to the end of one of our toughest races of the season?
Well, Ellis, this is probably one of the most unique challenges that these drivers will face all season in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Up there with Fenway Park and Wrigley Field, this racetrack itself is in the history books with those infamous stadiums right here. This is the definition of a driver's racetrack, Ellis. You have to race the racetrack and you have to look over those tires tonight. We have 147 laps for 200 miles around here, 5 sets of tires, and these drivers, every chance they get, they will probably take them every single time. A couple of stage breaks at lap number 40 and lap number 80. Should be a very, very unique challenge for these drivers around this egg-shaped oval.
And those challenges are going to be a few of the stories that we talk about here in just a little bit, everyone. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Right now, it's time for everyone's favorite pre-race tradition, the playing of the national anthem. Everyone, rise and remove those caps if able. We'll be right back on the other end of the national anthem. Back here live in Darlington, South Carolina, you are looking at one of the toughest racetracks on the calendar that sets a bit of fear in every driver's heart, no matter whether they like Darlington or not. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong in a moment's notice. Chris, there are a few drivers tonight that really need a good night as they're trying to race their way into the 7-race playoff. We're just 3 races away from beginning. If you look at the point standings, our number one story tonight is a handful of drivers raced their way in. They clinched the playoff berth last week. Those drivers included Alex Pollock, Caleb Hunt, and a handful of others. However, on the other end of that story, there are drivers right on the line. Chris, what about those drivers? What do you think's going through their mind tonight, entering one of the toughest races of the season, really needing a good race?
Well, I'm probably thinking if I'm those guys, first step of this deal is probably going to be survival tonight. If you can survive at a very tough, very difficult track and your competitors run into some trouble, it might be to your benefit over the course of the night tonight. I've got my eyes set on 3 drivers in particular: Joshua Gillen, David Moyer, and Brett Wren. That's not to say that other drivers, can't race their way in, Ellis. I just think that those drivers are, they're sitting at the closest spot right there. And that's 3 drivers for 2 spots that are available. So one person is unfortunately going to be left out of this deal if everything stays the same. Now, you could win your way in eventually.
Winning their way in is at the top of the goal list for a handful of drivers, really all drivers tonight. To do it, Chris, they're going to have to make sure they mind their P's and Q's. And that's really what our stories of the race is about tonight. For the fans watching at home, these are the things to look out that we'll be talking about all evening long. And the first one that we're going to look out for is drivers need to look out for that wall. Chris, this track is the tightest on the circuit.
Yeah, it is one of the tightest racetracks on the circuit, and they got to stay out of the wall. They have to stay off the wall, and they have to plan their passes accordingly. With the Darlington Stripe is something that you talked about earlier in the pre-race open right here, Ellis, and that's something drivers are going to have to try to avoid. You have to run really close to the wall in order to be fast here, especially on one end of the track. So that's something we're going to have our eyes on all night tonight.
In addition to that, these drivers are going to have to keep their eyes on their tires and really making sure they're holding on to those Goodyear rubbers to make sure that they have enough tread left to make it through these what could be potentially long runs tonight. How difficult is it for a driver to really drive it easy at a track like Darlington?
It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to just try to maintain that pace over the course of a run. It's tough anywhere, but I also think it's very difficult here as well. Turns 1 and 2 can be a cheese grater on tires just because the speeds are so high down there on that end of the track. You often see a lot of drivers kind of tackling that end of the speedway a little bit, I shouldn't say wrong, but a lot more aggressively than what they probably should. So we're going to have our eyes down there on that end and see how the pace sort of, changes on that end of the track over the course of this race.
And speaking of pace changes, drivers are going to have to get that pace and that speed down in a hurry tonight if they're going to get onto pit road with no issues. Darlington notorious for a difficult pit road entry that really starts earlier than any other pit road on the calendar this year.
It definitely does, and you'll see a couple different approaches tonight. You see some drivers try to give up entrance of turn 3 and try to just go ahead and go as low as they can very fast. You'll see some drivers try to take a wide sweeping entry, kind of slow down on the track and then turn left. I think both of them definitely have their merits, so we'll see both of those in play over the course of the race tonight.
Now, we've been talking to some of the drivers, and we know Darlington's a tough track, but it also has a tendency to go green for long periods of time. What's different about Darlington that maybe prevents the caution flag from flying as much here?
Well, the apron, for one thing, is very, very large here compared to some other tracks. And so if a driver does spin down onto the apron, the automatic caution might not fly as quickly. Now, there is race control, and that's very helpful. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that. So there might be a little bit more tonight than what we typically see, especially also with the stage breaks also bunching the field back up. But this is a driver's track, Ellis. It's very, very based on rhythm. So once these drivers do get into a rhythm, I think that's one reason why you start to see those long green flag runs here.
Well, it's time to start thinking about what it's going to take to get in that rhythm, because we're not very far from the green flag start here at Darlington. Qualifying has ended, and we've got the starting lineup ready to go. Let's go ahead and see where your favorite driver is starting tonight in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Race number 24, the Caswell Glass 200. From Darlington. On the pole, it's going to be Jacob Cochran in that number 84 throwback paint scheme tonight, folks. You're going to see a handful of those, actually more than a handful, and we'll be talking about each one of those hopefully throughout the night. On the outside pole, Cody Giles, front row, both winners, looking to maybe add one to the column tonight. Third's going to be Morgan Cook in that 51. That's a name we haven't seen, but based on that qualifying effort and practice speeds, expect that 51 to be running up front much of the evening. Fourth is going to be Zachary Taylor in that number 19 car, a newcomer as well, along with Andrew Shobe starting on the inside of row number 3 in that 69 car. Gavin Henson running a back Ryan Newman scheme, going to be starting on the outside of row 3, 6th for Gavin Henson. Evan Janik, points leader, is going to have to come from a little bit further back tonight, 7th for that number 71 in that red, white, and blue Mark Donahue paint scheme. The number 33 of Brad T. Nelson going to be starting 8th in that 33. Derek Jewitt, last week's winner, Chris, we'll be talking about him in a little bit, is going to be starting on the inside of row number 5 from 9th. And then Alex Pollock in that 92 will be wearing his heart rate monitor tonight. You can see how tough this track is on the old ticker. I'll let you finish it out, Chris.
Yeah, starting on the inside of row 6, we got Michael Wade in the number 3, a very unique throwback to both Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And on his outside, you have another Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback, the number 8 of Adam Holston. Starting 13th, you've got Michael Cole in that number 48 machine. And on the outside, in that Taco Bell car, a Martin Truex throwback, we've got Caleb Hunt in that number 78. Starting on the inside of row 8, we have David Moyer. David Moyer is in a Texaco Haviland Davey Allison throwback. And on the outside is Alan Zukoff in the number 91. Aaron Espy's going to roll off in the 17th position. It looks like he's got an Austin Dillon throwback tonight. And Joshua Gillen looks like he's going to start on pit road in a Phil Parsons channel lock throwback. On the inside of row 10, we've got Brett Wren in the Fall Creek Plumbing machine. And on his outside, in a Mark Martin Valvoline throwback, is Reggie Kind.
Looking through the rest of the field, Robert McKay in that 88 starting 21st night. Stephen Gill in a Dale Earnhardt throwback going to be starting 22nd. Zach White's going to have to come from 23rd in that 77 car. Christian Barnes outside of row 12, 24th tonight for Barnes. Wisaki, that's Douglas Wisaki, is going to be starting 25th. Zachary King on the outside of row 13, 26th, and Jared Knopsider coming from tail end of the field tonight from 27th place. It's getting go time, Chris. Drivers going through turns 3 and 4. Pace car peels off, makes that hard left turn down that narrow pit lane. Cochran's waiting to see that green flag as they exit turn 4 onto the front straightaway. They get into the restart zone. The flag waves. We're underway here. Darlington, Caswell Glass, 200. Here we go, folks. It's Cochran leading the way down into turn number 1. The 5 of Giles slides up back into second. Contact a little bit further back. They look to have it sorted out through turns 1 and 2. Third place is going to be Gavin Henson right behind Morgan Cook.
Oh,
go ahead, Chris.
Several
Big
cars
trouble.
sideways right there. The 78 is around. That's Caleb Hunt. Oh, heavy contact on the backstretch.
Big incident on the exit of turn 2. A couple cars. That's the 9 of Reggie Kime, the 78 of Caleb Hunt, the 82 also might have been involved in that incident. We're going to see if we can't figure out what happened. But, Chris, the track too tough to tame didn't earn its nickname for no reason.
Absolutely not. This actually started around, I think, the 48 of Michael Cole. That's him down there. Oh, and yeah. He might have been reacting to Alex Pollock getting into some trouble right there, but some contact right there between David Moyer, Caleb Hunt. There's the 88 of Robert McKay, Reggie Kime piling into that. So several cars piling into this crash right here that started maybe when the 92 of Alex Pollock ran into some trouble off of turn 2.
And that's one of the trouble spots. If you've ever watched a race at Darlington, we'll be keeping our eyes on this tonight. But turn 2 really is a narrow exit onto the backstretch, and you can't really afford to go too wide. Drivers, if you don't cut it down there, that outside wall creeps up in a hurry, and you saw it bite Alex Pollock there.
Yeah, I think Michael was, I don't know if he was reacting to him or if he just got loose on his own right there. But yeah, unfortunate for Caleb Hunt. David Moyer right there, one of the drivers who is fighting for that couple final spots right there into the playoffs. I think he's going to get away with it all right. But several of these cars, they're going to have to take their fast repair early on right here, Ellis. I'm seeing Caleb Hunt, I think he towed back to the pits. Michael Cole is still on pit road. Or I'm sorry, Michael Cole is actually still circulating the track with a heavily damaged number 48 machine. Several cars on pit road getting some service done early on right here, and I think it's a lot of drivers who might have been in good shape, but recognizing the fact that maybe they got more tires than what they need tonight, electing to put some fresh Goodyear rubber on their machines.
That tells you a little bit about how quickly these drivers expect Darlington to eat up those tires. Right now, under caution for the first time tonight. If you're joining us for the first time or if you're a long-time viewer, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. Shout-outs to a couple fans in the chat. We got AJ Hale back. We got Joshua Gillen in the chat. Julie's in the chat. Ryder Faze, Alex Pollock, Bobby Mack, John Rapp. We got Connor Lyons in here as well. We're stacking it out in the chat tonight. We are giving away a free Kyle Busch diecast for one lucky viewer who's active in the chat tonight. Root on your favorite driver, react to what's happening on the track, tell a joke or two. Nothing is off limits. Just keep it family friendly, and you could take home that Kyle Busch diecast. Make sure you also subscribe and like the video. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us immensely. We'll be bringing this up multiple times tonight to remind you can win that Kyle Busch diecast. Chris, has Kyle Busch ever won a race at Darlington?
That's a good question. I'm assuming, I would think that he has, Ellis. I'd be surprised if he hasn't.
Well, we're not going to have to wait long for more green flag action to get us towards that checkered flag tonight and figure out who's going to win this race. Pace car headed through turns 3 and 4. Front row's the same as it was at the start. Cochran and Giles are your two leaders. Morgan Cook in that white and green number 51 along with the 19 of Zach Taylor. Third and fourth, pace cars off. They're going to have to wait till they hit the restart zone, and then Cochran can lead the way. We'll see how quickly he goes. About midway through, Cochran takes the green flag for the second time tonight. Jam up a little bit further back in the field. Several cars have to react as we head down into turn 1.
And Ellis, we're seeing a lot of cars really spin the tires, get sideways on the front stretch on the green flag. That is something that kind of plagues a lot of these NASCAR vehicles here at Darlington.
Darlington is tricky. We've seen it in action early, too wide now, a little bit further back in the field, but the battle, you can see it there, the 22 and the 3, the 92, I should say, and the 3 neck and neck. The 3 completes the pass. Chris, how tough is it to pass and pull off that pass that the 3 of Michael Wade just did?
It is very difficult to pass here. I try to think about passing here on one end of the track. Maybe try to set them up in turns 1 and 2 and try to complete the pass in 3 and 4. So we got several cars really down low right here. One of them is Derek Jewitt right there in that number 45. I think that's a Gray Ghost Buddy Baker throwback right there. That's a nice looking ride. But yeah, Ellis, you got to think ahead and playing your passes out. Turns 3 and 4 is definitely much better for passing than turns 1 and 2.
We're going to see that. We're going to talk about it all night. Right now, lap 7 of 147. We are underway in Darlington tonight. Race number 24, single file through much of the field. A couple passes going on right now. Watching Jacob Cochran lead Cody Giles. Couple throwback paint schemes right now. I think that 84, is that a Ralph Earnhardt throwback?
I'm honestly not sure. That was the one I was looking at in pre-race. So we got one car sideways. I think that's Jared Knopsnyder on the apron, the number 82 machine. He straightens it out right here, and we are still green.
Drivers doing yeoman's work tonight to hang on to their race cars. It's going to be a challenge all night long as they won their way down into turn number 4. Cochran leading the way, but it is a close battle. Giles really is looking like he wants to apply that pressure to the back bumper of that number 84. Looked a little bit loose off of turn number 4 as they cross the line now to take lap number 9. It's about a car length separating the 84 from the number 5. 84, Cochran grabs the wall just a little bit there. It's going to open the door for the number 5, potentially. Thinks better of it through turns 1 and 2, but the 19 and the 51, that's just as close a battle.
It definitely is right here. Down here in turns 3 and 4, we're seeing a few different lines right there. Look at the 51 of Cook, the 84 of Cochran. Cook kind of stays a little bit lower right there, and you have some options down in 3 and 4. I think there's only one fast lane in 1 and 2 as Cook is going to look to the inside of Giles. Giles is not going to give up the spot, but in 1 and 2 right here, Ellis, it's pretty much single file.
Single file right now, looking through the rest of the field. Oh, one car, the number 19, Taylor, incredibly loose. You see him dip down the backstretch there, but he hung on to it. We've seen that happen to multiple drivers tonight. This is a tough track. We're going to remind you of that all night long. A little bit further back through the field, 18th, Brett Rinn, Stephen Gill, almost a little bit of contact back there. Gill looks like he may be off the pace just a little bit. McKay as well into the wall. Gill really struggling right now. Maybe starting to feel a little bit of tire wear early on. You can see him still sideways through turns 3 and 4 on the front stretch now.
Yeah, definitely so. And Ellis, I did a little bit of homework right there, and I tried to figure out the backstory right there as we got a battle right here between the 48 of, that's Michael Cole. Oh, as he makes contact in the wall right there off of turn 2, gets it sideways. He's going to hold on to it. But I can confirm that Jacob Cochran's throwback is a Junior Johnson throwback to when Junior Johnson was actually still racing.
Okay, so we've learned a new one tonight. Hey, I bet if we had Sean Signori in the booth, he would have known that in an instant.
Yeah, he would have known for sure. He wouldn't have had to look it up like I did.
No knock on you, but I think Sean might have known it just off the top of his head. That guy's an encyclopedia of knowledge. If you don't know Sean, he stands in on some of her broadcasts and does a great job. Riding on board right now with the leader, Jacob Cochran, looking out the back at Cody Giles. Cochran's led pretty much the entire way, but he's got Giles on his back bumper pretty much every single lap. They're separated by less than a car length. But right now, you can see just how close these drivers have to get to the wall if they're going to run the fast laps around here right now. But right now, everyone minding their P's and Q's, kind of tucking in and just waiting this out. This is a long race, and it's one of the toughest races of the season, Chris.
Yeah, we got 2 cars around right here. It's Alex Pollock and Brad T. Nelson. They're going to get it straightened out, though. And, hey, we're still green right now.
Been a wild night for Alex Pollock. Just 15 laps into the race. Brad T. Nelson along for the ride on that one. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, we're going to go back right here. Our producer, Johnny Rapp, right there. And, yeah, there's some contact. Brad T. Nelson into the left rear of Alex Pollock. I think something maybe happened up ahead of Alex right there that kind of caused that. I don't know if he got jammed up behind the number 8 of Holston. Yeah, it looked like he and Holson actually might have made some contact right before that, and it kind of... Oh, actually, no, they didn't. I just think maybe he kind of ran up on him right there, and yeah, had to get on the binders a little quicker than Brad T. Nelson was expecting.
Well, either way, it's going to set Alex Pollock in that number 92 back to 14th position. And while we're riding around with that number 22, it's a Ward Burton throwback paint scheme. Am I correct in that? I've got a little bit of paint scheme knowledge.
Yeah, that's a Ward Burton throwback right there. And if you've watched NASCAR racing over the years, you know Ward Burton, winner of the Daytona 500 a little over 20 years ago. But yeah,
man, you're making me feel old.
I know, right? It seems like just yesterday for some of us that he won it. But yeah, that's a great paint scheme, and I love the creativity, Ellis.
Sorry, Robert McKay around on the front stretch in that number 88. Not sure what happened to Robert there. Sorry to interrupt, but I think we're going to have those moments all night long.
Yeah, we sure are right here, and I might have it pulled up right here, Johnny. I'm not sure if we're able to do the side-by-side deal. If we are, I might be able to show what happened right here. But yeah, he's yeah, let's go ahead and roll it right here. He's up in the outside wall right there. The black number 88 car tags the wall, comes down the track right there, got loose, and man, tags that inside wall really hard. A lot of damage to that number 88 machine.
He's still rolling around in that 88. The 77 of Zach White might have had some issues as well. I'm curious right now if we maybe can go back over to Joshua Gillen and running in 20th position right now, having a clean night in that number 10 channel lock car. He's one of the drivers that we talked about being on the bubble, and right now just kind of minding his own business. I've seen he's pitched twice, so he might have gotten a little bit of damage early, but right there on his own right now, just kind of rolling around the track. If you're the crew chief, are you encouraging him just to stay where he is and just get a clean finish and avoid trouble out there tonight?
Yeah, it seems like it might be one of those kind of nights. Yeah, that might be a good strategy. And also, kind of keep in sight, your competitors. The drivers he's probably looking at more than anybody else are David Moyer, and Moyer's running in the 12th spot, and Brett Wren running in the 18th spot, a couple spots in front of him. So if you know that those drivers are probably not going to get stage points, Ellis, because you have to finish in the top 5 here in the Mystic Racing League to get stage points, then you probably feel pretty comfortable where you're running at this stage.
And stage 1, 40 laps tonight, so we're just about 20 laps, halfway through stage 1 right now. And Chris, one of the interesting things is as we watch these cars roll around here on lap number 20, I don't know if it's coming through on the broadcast or not, but I keep on hearing sheet metal hit the wall here at Darlington, and there's no reason to be alarmed by that. This is going to be something we hear all night long, with drivers just grazing that wall, earning their Darlington stripes here even early. We talked about that in pre-race. Great little battle right now going on, or it was going on, for the 3rd position. I think it's since died down just a little bit. Everyone looks like they're just kind of settling in right now. We're in the middle of a somewhat long green flag run. You saw the 5 of Cody Giles get a little bit loose there, fallen off a little bit from Jacob Cochran, Chris. In the last couple of laps, Cochran's been able to open up about a 7-8 car length lead, and look at this battle for second that's popped up suddenly.
Yeah, and right there, that number 5 machine kind of tagged the wall right there off of turn 2, off of turn 4. Got a little bit sideways right there, and yeah, we were looking at Cochran earlier on, and he was under a lot of pressure from those guys, but Ellis, I think he was just pacing himself, because right now he's, like you said, he's kind of opening that gap up right here, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing down here in turns 3 and 4 out of some of these drivers who are fast right now. A lot of them are kind of, taking that, low line, and I say low line, they're right around that dash line in turns 3 and 4. They're not up there on the wall, where I think that you kind of kill a little bit more tire up there on the wall in turns 3 and 4 compared to, 1 and 2, where you kind of have to run up against the wall.
Right now, drivers just doing everything they can to hang on to this thing. 17 laps, couple cars loose off the corner there. You saw the number 19 of Zach Taylor look to the inside. It's a battle for the 3rd position. Taylor in that black number 19. He's looking at the inside, the number 5 of Cody Giles, who's dropping like a rock in the last several laps. Giles just trying to hang on to it. Meanwhile, the 19 draws a bead on that left side. He has to wait for at least one more lap as they go down into turn 1. You don't want to get side by by side in a battle with a car going into turn 1. Difficult territory, difficult terrain, asking for trouble if you do, and the 19 thought better of it.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of drivers sideways right off of turn 2, and that seems to be a little bit of a trouble spot right now here with these Xfinity cars. Yeah, that number 19 machine, Zachary Taylor right there, seeing some good forward drive out of that machine, and he might be far enough alongside right now where I think that Giles will have to lift. He will lift going into turn 1. That's a classic Darlington move right there, Ellis. That's a smart driver who knows that it is impossible, or, you know, I shouldn't say impossible, but it's very difficult to run side by side in turns 1 and 2.
Go with the 5. You saw him graze the wall right there. It's tight, and you see it. Even not trying to run side by side, it's a difficult proposition to make it through these corners clean at Darlington. Hey, couple updates in the chat, Chris. We did get our resident encyclopedia, Connor Lyons, share that Kyle Busch did win Darlington all the way back in 2008, 17 years ago. Again, making us feel old here in the Slingshot booth, but we appreciate that update, Connor. We got in it. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
We got trouble. I'm sorry. Brett ran hard in the inside wall on the back stretch, and that's a lot of damage to that number 24 machine. I'm not sure he's going to make it back to the pits, Ellis. I think he's going to have to tow.
That is a meatball on the number 23. He's going to have to tow to the back of the pits. And I was talking to Brett during pre-race, and he shared that he was exhausted after a long day. And I'm just wondering if maybe the fatigue didn't catch up here as he makes a mistake off the corner.
Yeah, he got sideways, kind of got, and yeah, some contact from behind right there. Reggie Kime into the left rear, turns him into the inside wall. And that is, that's going to put him significantly behind right here. If he can get back on the track right here, the towing to pit road is going to cost him a lot of time, and he's going to go more than one lap down here, Ellis.
This is not what you want to see if you're watching for that Brett Wren playoff run, really putting a dent in those playoff hopes. Just 1 point off the cut line before tonight at Darlington's green flag. And right now, that playoff run might be in jeopardy. Just 3 more chances after tonight to race his way in. And yeah, that was some heavy contact there from the front bumper of the 9, but that shows you it is difficult, especially to run around someone, because you just never know what is going to happen. We got a great battle going on for the 4th position right now. Cody Giles, Andrew Shobe, Evan Janik, they're all on top of each other, watching them run their way down the front straightaway right now. 3 cars just separated by about 3 or 4 car lengths. And it looks like that 5 and that 69 driving it in just a little bit harder than Evan Janik into turns 1.
Yeah, that's what it looks like so far right here. And it looks like Shobe might get positioned right here on the number 5. That number 5, Cody Giles, yeah, that Kevin Harvick throwback. He's kind of slipping back right here, struggling with grip. Maybe burned his tires a little too much. And that's the great thing about stage racing, Ellis, is that, he's got a chance to recover and regroup right here with a caution coming up. He knows that maybe he pushed a little too hard, too early, and he can adjust his driving style for, the remainder of this race. Look at that number 71, Ellis. That is a great throwback for Evan Janik tonight. That's a throwback to an old AMC Matador paint scheme for that number 71.
Is that a Mark Donahue, or is that a Penske? Was that a Penske car, or is that literally is that an old Trans Am car? I don't know the history.
Well, I think that maybe this was the car that Bobby Allison drove.
Oh, you know what? I think you are right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it reminds me of the AMC Matador paint scheme.
If you're watching right now, let us know if you recognize some of these paint schemes we're still maybe wondering about. Shout out your favorite driver. Let us know what paint scheme they're running tonight. Let us know who you're rooting on, and weigh in on what you're seeing in the race and react to some of the things that are happening on the track in the chat right now. It's all Jacob Cochran so far. He's led almost every single lap from the pole tonight. Cochran in that 84, he's still in the lead.
Oh, we got trouble
right
Ellis.
now. Big trouble right now. I believe that might have been Cody Giles.
Yeah, he hit the inside. Yeah, he hit the inside wall really, really hard, and he has towed back to the pits.
Big development.
Yeah, I might be able to have this keyed up right here, Johnny, if we want to go back and take a look at it right here off of the corner here, possibly. Yeah, so here's Cody Giles in the number 5 machine. Exiting turn number 4, Giles going to get loose right here, tags the wall, and I think maybe some contact from behind right there. There was contact from Gavin Henson. and that sent Giles into that inside wall head on.
Man, that's almost identical to what happened to Brett Wren and Reggie Kime just 10 laps or so ago. So again, it's a trouble spot that we're going to see over and over tonight. These race cars just not wanting to handle great on the exits of these corners. And if you're racing in close quarters, you got to be careful. And right now, just racing incidents bound to happen here at Darlington. Still continuing to watch Joshua Gillen in that number 10. I know Josh Gillen probably happy to see what happened to Brett Wren. I know he doesn't want to see one of his peers crash as we watch one car big time off the wall there, Chris. But Joshua Gillen now even more incentive to just stay out there and race cleanly as we watch. I believe it was that purple car right at the front of that pack, Caleb Hunt, who grabbed the wall right in front of Cody Giles. No, it's Jacob Cochran. They're putting the field lap down.
Yeah, that's Caleb Hunt right there. Hunt, he had that trouble early on in the race right there. Yeah, he is currently 2 laps down, fighting hard to not go 3 laps down right here before the stage break. He's got 5 laps, and that's probably going to be fairly difficult. And here comes that number 84 machine looking inside of the 78.
And if you're Caleb Hunt, you're just hoping that the 84 of Jacob Cochran can't. 3 wide. One car, Zach White in the wall. Almost big trouble there right in front of the leaders, Cochran and Cook. Now, Chris, this has allowed Morgan Cook to rejoin the battle for the lead. He had been over a second back. Now he's within about 5 or 6 car lengths with just 4 laps remaining in stage number 1.
Yeah, that's the story of Darlington, and you're going to run into a lot of lap traffic right here because there's great variations in the speeds between drivers, especially over the course of a long run like we currently are having right now as we approach the end of stage number 1.
Just a few laps left in stage number 1. It's still Jacob Cochran up front trying to work his way through lap traffic, but Morgan Cook has closed the gap. Newcomer Morgan Cook has closed the gap. Now just 4 or 5 car lengths back from Jacob Cochran. You can smell blood in the water. Look at that 51 roll through the corner. Big run for Cook coming off of turn number 2. Is he going to think about taking it to the left down into turn number 3? The answer is no. He's going to follow Cochran through. They're going to work their way onto the number 91 of Zukov through turns 3 and 4. And the 51's going to have to wait at least one more. Oh, he gets a little bit of the front bumper of Zukov as he exits turn number 4. And that's going to upset his chances for a stage win here.
Yeah, you saw Alan Zukov kind of come off the wall a little bit. It probably didn't feel like it from his end, but yeah, he did come off the wall a little bit and kind of tagged the 51 a little bit in the right rear as he came by. And Nelson, it really just depends on when you catch the lap traffic. Cochran got a bad break going into 1 earlier, but then he gets a good break right there off of turn 4.
Gets the break off of turn 4 again from bride to bridesmaid in just about half a lap or so. That is the story at Darlington. It's happening now. It's going to be happening all night. Another close battle happening throughout the field. Looks like it's a battle for the 4th position. The 19 of Zachary Taylor trying to close the gap on Evan Janet, Chris, who's worked his way up through the field right in front of that 82 who careens off the wall. But Janik has been working his way up from 7th place, 4 positions, and that's no small feat here at Darlington with just about a lap left in stage number 1.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of weeks off right here for the 71 machine of Janik, but he's having, I was going to say earlier, it seemed like he was having a very pedestrian night as we work our way on the final lap of the first stage, but he's showing a lot of long run pace, I think. Some impressive speed out of the 71 right here at this stage of the race.
And he's put together the fastest average lap time over the past 10 laps or so. So you're right, Evan Janik on the move here in the closing laps of stage 1. Right now, Jacob Cochran getting ready to cross the line to finish lap number 40. As soon as the 5th place car crosses the line with him, stage 1 will be complete. The yellow flag will fly, and the top 5 will earn stage points that could be critical in the playoffs. And there's the stage 1 caution flag. Jacob Cochran is your winner here at Darlington. The 2nd place finisher, Morgan Cook. Evan Janik finishes 3rd in stage 1. Zach Taylor, the 19, will be 4th, and Gavin Henson claims the final points for stage 1 in 5th position. Look, the tail of tape there. Jacob Cochran has led almost from wire to wire here as we get ready for the first pit stop. Is there anything drivers can do on this first pit stop to right the ship if it hasn't been going their way so far tonight? Is there anything they can do from inside that car besides just getting tires?
You know, you can definitely adjust right here. This is a great reset. I kind of mentioned it earlier with Cody Giles. Unfortunately, Giles is now out of the race, so it doesn't pertain to him anymore. But you can definitely adjust your driving style, Ellis. You can change that over the course of these next few laps, and I think you'll see a lot of drivers do that going forward at this point. You can make some changes to the brake bias. That's definitely something that you can do inside the car. And I think this is one of the tracks that kind of rewards that, you know, if a driver is feeling pretty brave to maybe lower that front brake bias a little bit.
Well, with the risk potentially comes the reward, but also potential mishaps. Right now, drivers looking to avoid mishaps as they enter this tight pit road at Darlington. It's Cochran followed by Morgan Cook. You got to look about 15 car lengths back to find Evan Janik. With the way the caution fell and the pace car catching these cars, it left a big old gap. Right now, drivers going to be coming to the attention of their pit crews, making that left-hand turn, hopefully not sliding into their box for this 4 fresh tires and fuel, getting ready for a second stage here live from Darlington. We'll see who wins this race off of pit road, and track position is critical here. Last week at Daytona, Chris, you lose a couple spots on pit road, no big deal, no sweat. Right now, it's a lot harder to pass at Darlington.
It's definitely hard to pass, especially at this stage where they're going to be at the run right now. It gets a little bit easier once you have some variation in the lap times, you know, with the tires wearing out. But yeah, you definitely want to try to have as clean of a pit stop as you possibly can. And it looks like the number 84, Jacob Cochran, is going to beat them all off of pit road here.
It's going to be Cochran, Cook, Taylor, followed by Janik, who loses a spot there, and then fifth, Gavin Henson. We're going to take just a very short break, folks, 30 seconds. Pay the bills. We'll be right back. You're not going to miss green flag action. Stick around. Be back in just a moment.
Whether it's a sudden leak or a project you've been meaning to tackle, Fall Creek Plumbing is here to help. Serving all of central Indiana, we're a small family-owned business based in Pendleton, built on honesty, quality, and care. From slab leaks and water heaters to full plumbing upgrades and everyday maintenance, our team brings experience and craftsmanship to every job, big or small. It's not just about fixing problems, it's about providing reliable, long-term solutions for your home. At Fall Creek Plumbing, we believe in showing up on time, treating your home with respect, and doing the job right the first time. Because peace of mind shouldn't be a luxury, it should be the standard. Fall Creek Plumbing, local, reliable, professional, and proud sponsor of Mystic Racing League.
Back live here in Darlington, South Carolina, getting ready to get the 1 to go to get stage 2 started. Drivers taking the choose rule right now. Who's going to take the inside? Who's going to take the outside on this restart? No surprise, Jacob Cochran takes that inside. The number 51 of Morgan Cook does elect to take that outside. And you can see those drivers making that hard left or hard right turn to signify their intentions. Chris, what do you think? If you're the 51, you like your chances on the outside? You're trying to get a good restart here. What's maybe going through the mind of the number 51 with that outside choose?
Well, I don't think that you can give up a row, so I definitely understand taking the outside, but I think the outside is at a little bit of a disadvantage, Ellis, not just with the line and the entry into turn 1, but also all the cars that I've seen spinning their tires on the initial start and then the one restart that we had, it seems like they've all been on the outside. And, you know, from past experience for me, I've always found the outside lane to be a little bit more difficult to restart in here at Darlington for whatever reason, just a little bit less grip, it seems. So, yeah, that's something we're going to have our eyes on right here as these drivers get the green flag. But I definitely agree with the choice. I wouldn't want to give up a row if I was Morgan Cook.
Drivers need all the grip they can find right now. They've got fresh tires up on the front row, so the 84 is going to be the control car. Wait for him to get into that Geico restart zone. He leads the way. Cochran mashes that throttle. We're back racing again here from Darlington in the Caswell Glass 200 for Mystic Racing League. The battle right now is for second between the 19 of Taylor and the 51 of Cook, who's in the wall. It's going to allow Taylor to squeak by. Cook slides back into third position, but Taylor's got his eyes set on the lead. Jacob Cochran right now headed down into turn 3.
Yeah, that number 19 of Taylor, he's putting all kinds of pressure on Jacob Cochran. He's there. He's inside of the number 84. Bid for the lead off of turn 4.
Battle for the lead between Taylor and Cochran. Taylor in the black 19. Cochran, who's led the way in the 84. He slides back to second, cedes the lead. There's a new sheriff in town. Zachary Taylor, mark him down for P1.
Yeah, Jacob Cochran lifted right there into turn 1, knowing it's still very early and how difficult it is to race in turns 1 and 2 side by side. But he's going to come back at him, just showing that nose, just trying to tease him a little bit, trying to show he's, he's still there. He's still thinking about it, but they're single file right here off of turn 4.
Oh, Cochran in the wall. He gets collected.
Trouble.
51. Big trouble. Second and third place. Careening down the front stretch. Puts us under caution for the third time tonight. Big crash.
Oh, man, we had some drivers pile into Morgan Cook after the fact right there. I think that was Stephen Gill possibly in the 0-3. But, yeah, that got really, really tight right there off of turn 4, Ellis.
Big crash as we watch the replay to try to figure out what happened between the 51 and the 84 on the front stretch.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of wall contact for both of them, and then the 51 into the back of the 84 gets him sideways. The 51 hits the inside wall, comes back across the track, and I thought that we were going to be okay, Ellis. I thought that everything was going to be just fine. And then we had a couple drivers come along right here. One of them just barely misses Morgan Cook, and Stephen Gill hits Cook right there in the left front, unfortunately.
Big crash. Yellow flag out. Drivers trying to do their best to slow down. But yeah, when you got a car on the front stretch, narrow track, it is often hard to avoid contact. We're going to be under caution for the third time tonight on lap 49. That's going to put Zach Taylor, took the lead right before that caution flew. Maybe the biggest benefactor, Chris, Gavin Henson in second place. He restarted fifth, and that number 39 is now up to outside row. Or outside of row 1. So big damage for Stephen Gill. Can't see how the front end of that car with that hood popped up like it was. But, DW, Darrell Waltrip, famous saying, cautions breed cautions. We had a long green flag run right before the end of stage 1. But when we bunched up back together, Chris, the room for error just shrank by that much. And that's what it took there to put us under caution.
Yeah, and you said it right there. When you get them bunched back up, especially after a long green flag run like that, things kind of change a little bit right there. And I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna give Stephen Gill a little bit of defense right here. He was right behind Jared Knopsnyder, and I think that when the 82 dove low, I just think that it happened so late that he just didn't have time to react to that car that was stationary in the track right there. So. Very unfortunate break for a lot of drivers, for a couple drivers especially right there. I am noticing that Jacob Cochran has come to pit road. He has gotten his damage fixed. He has taken his quick repair. So that Junior Johnson throwback machine, he'll definitely be getting back out there on the track. Morgan Cook, I think that Morgan Cook did have to take a wave around right there. So he is currently 3 laps down, Ellis.
Couple cars going a lap down. Big trouble right now coming up to the choose. I want to see if we can pull in Gavin Henson real quick for a quick word here as he takes the choose. Hey, Gavin Henson, this is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, right before we go green, just a quick second here. What's it like out there right now? Is it as tight as it looks to us?
It's slick. It's
Slick?
very slick. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it's rewarding whenever you can make a complete lap without hitting the wall or nearly wrecking yourself. So,
well, man, get locked in. Go enjoy the rest of the race. Good run going so far, buddy.
thank you, sir.
All right, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Drivers talking about how slick it is out there and how difficult it is not to make a mistake. And Boy, I want to give a shout out, Chris. Alex Pollock back up to the inside of row 3 in that number 92 after big trouble early on. Running in 5th position right now, looking to improve that here on this restart as we get ready to go green here. Pace car is going to be making that hard left-hand turn. It's going to be Zachary Taylor for the first time tonight on the front row in that 19. He's the control car. Gavin Henson in that 39 is to his outside. They're going to wait till they enter that Geico restart zone. He mashes the throttle. The 19 goes. The rest of the field looks like they might be struggling with a little bit of grip on those tires. The 71 and the 39 side by side. Janik, easy pass on Henson down into turn 1. We have a new P2 in town. Gavin Henson now up to 2nd.
Time and time again, it just seems like that outside lane, it just really struggles on these restarts right there. As a 71 of Janik is going to clear the 39, moving up into 2nd spot. And this is what that driver needed right here, Ellis. He's fast on the long run, and he's got pretty good track position early on in stage 2.
Janik up to 2nd. It's going to send the number 39 of Henson back to 3rd, right into the clutches of Derek Jewitt in that number 45, who's last week's winner at Daytona, and he wastes no time trying to set up that pass to the inside, thinks better of it off of turn 2. He's got the number 8 of Adam Holston in that Dale Jr. throwback paint scheme right down his back bumper, Chris. It's a tight race. The 92 of Pollock into the wall right in front of Brad T. Nelson, who's going to go low and make that pass. But yeah, these cars throw a blanket over the top of them, and it might not cover them, or it would cover them all.
Yeah, Derek Jewitt right now putting a lot of pressure right now. Seems like on the back bumper of Henson, and Henson actually with more pressure to the rear bumper of Evan Janik right here. Yeah, so these drivers right here, they recognize after that caution flag, Ellis, that this is a little bit more of a sprint right here to the end of stage 2, and I think they feel maybe they can race a little harder now than maybe they did in stage 1.
Racing hard is an understatement. Derek Jewitt continuing to work on the back bumper of that 39 of Gavin Henson. This time might do the charm down into turn 1. Hard to run side by side, and Jewitt, Chris, we talked to Derek after his win last week, and one thing that really stood out to me was he talked about just what a growth journey, a maturation he's had over the course of this season, working with a new team in the past month or so. He said it really reframed his way of thinking about how he laid out and executed his races, and I think we just saw a little bit of evidence out there on the track right now of that.
Yeah, I totally agree, and, he was pretty honest with us, about early on in the season, he ran into some trouble and he was gone for a few weeks actually, over the course of this season. And yeah, he's in his own words matured a lot and become a better driver. And yeah, here he is right here battling Gavin Henson right here for the 3rd spot. Ellis, that's one of I love that paint scheme on the 45. That's one of my favorite ones right there. The gray ghost, the Buddy Baker throwback right there. So he's got that thing looking really good right now as we're about halfway through stage number 2.
A basic, clean Buddy Baker gray ghost paint scheme. Tries to ghost his way around the 39, but put a foot wrong there. Got a little bit loose off of turn 2, and now the gap widens to about 5 car lengths, and that is the same gap from 1st to 2nd, and then from 2nd back to 3rd. These drivers pretty much equidistant from each other throughout the top 10 or so. If you look at a wide shot, it's identical margins almost between all the drivers. Evan Janik just heard me, and he cranked it up a notch right there behind the number 19 of Zach Taylor. Closes it up to about 3 car lengths or so. And Chris, we talked about Evan Janik spending a couple weeks off. It really has not been the summer season that I think Evan Janik was really hoping for based on his performance earlier on in the late spring. It's been a difficult summer, but Janik still has retained the points lead, and he's really poised to be the championship favorite headed into the playoffs in just 3 races as we watch him make a move for the lead down into turn 1, but the 19 sails it in, and he's going to have to wait. Janik's going to have to wait for at least another lap or so.
Yeah, and I agree about this summer stretch right here for Janik, but you said it. I think he's probably still the championship favorite, even though it has been a tough summer stretch for him. I still think that he definitely is, the guy who probably has the most consistent speed week in and week out, and so, with the playoffs fast approaching, I think that, tonight might be one of those turning point type of races right here where he kind of gets off the skid and tries to get back to his, championship form.
reestablishes himself maybe as, you mentioned, one of the championship favorites. Speaking of skid, I want to maybe jump back to 18th position, watching Derek Jewitt get a little bit loose there off the corner. Andrew Show, right back here in the thick of things, has fallen back. You can see a little bit of damage on that front bumper. This is a dangerous place to be. This is what we call the Hornet's Nest here at Darlington. Several cars on top of each other. They stretched it out a little bit, but yeah, Show has fallen back about 13 positions. Not sure if that was because of maybe some earlier contact. You can see that hood crinkled in just a little bit there.
Yeah, that damage might be affecting their performance. There might be a little bit of wheel damage right there. Yeah, we're used to seeing a little bit more speed out of Andrew Shobe, than we currently see at this moment of the race. He's normally a pretty solid top 5 driver week in and week out that he does compete. So, I think that he'll possibly be looking to get some of that damage fixed right here at the stage 2 break. A lot of drivers around him also struggling, Ellis. We saw the trouble for the number 51 of Morgan Cook earlier. He's up ahead of this group right here. He's kind of driving up through the field, but he is not on the lead lap. He's right now trying to pass, I believe that might be the number 1 machine. Yeah, Zachary King, who's the 10th place driver. So if he was on the lead lap, you can think that's where he would be, kind of trying to work his way back up through there.
So it's kind of a mixed bag. You got several drivers caught up in early troubles, a lap or more down, mixed in throughout the field. These lead lap cars have to work their way through, and it's difficult enough to pass a car that you're racing on the same lap, but to have to do that and weave your way through cars that are maybe a little bit slower is just an added challenge here at Darlington. Watching the number 27 of Christian Barnes roll around the track right now. I'm trying to figure out what this paint scheme is on this 27 as we watch Brad T. Nelson right in front of Christian grab the wall off of turn 3 a little bit. He's going to see the position. That's going to move Barnes up to the number 20 or the number 7 position. That's a old diehard scheme maybe?
Maybe I am having a hard time with it as well. Maybe one of our paint scheme experts in the chat might be able to help us out with that. I'm not sure. It's kind of weird, Ellis, because you got the Domino's colors on the hood right there, and then you got the orange and black back behind it. It kind of looks like a competing pizza place's colors on the back half of the paint scheme. It almost kind of looks like Little Caesars colors maybe on the back half. I don't know if that's what it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's what he was going for.
This is just upsetting all the way around. But he's having a good run right now in 7th position, and he really, after that victory at was it Charlotte earlier this season, I believe. I'm double checking my math on that. He's kind of had up and down. He's shown a lot of speed, but if you look at a line graph of Christian's season, it's just kind of been, peak, valley, peak, valley, peak, valley, especially as of recently in the past 6 or 7 weeks or so. But we know he's got the speed. This is a driver that I think could definitely mount a pretty deep playoff run here in this 7-race playoff and make it to the end potentially with a shot at that championship. This is a driver that's got speed, and right now you're kind of seeing it shine tonight at a tough track like Darlington. Christian started 24th, Chris, and he's up to 7th position. He's the biggest mover of the night in terms of positions gained right now, and you can see kind of the story of the race for Christian, and that's no easy feat. I feel like I'm just a broken record here talking about how difficult Darlington is, but for the fans watching at home, I know this is a virtual simulated race. I know these drivers are not in quote-unquote real race cars, but you're watching Alex Pollock's heart rate on the top right hand of the screen, 113, 120 at one point beats per minute. These drivers are getting after it with these steering wheels and these pedals, and it's a workout.
It is a workout, Ellis, and it's tough in any conditions, but especially in the conditions today. It is 125-degree track temperature on the Darlington Raceway here tonight. So, yeah, it is a grueling night for these drivers. Very, very grueling. As Christian Barnes, I think he got a little bit loose right there off of turn 2. I don't have a stat for this, Ellis, but I'm kind of going back to the Watkins Glen race where, Christian Barnes kind of showed me what he's all about. When he made his way back up through the field, after his troubles in that race. I think he's probably passed more people, in the last few weeks, maybe than any other driver in the field. He's definitely completed a lot of passes.
I think you're absolutely correct in that assertion. Speaking of passes, we got one maybe heating up or setting up here at the front of the field. Up in the lead, Zachary Taylor. That lead has closed now just at 2 or 3 car lengths from the back bumper, the front bumper of Evan Janik. And we're just 10 laps away from the end of stage number 2. I think Evan Janik might be looking to get this stage win. We saw late in the first stage in that run on older tires, that 71 was really putting together some fast laps. And I think we're starting to have deja vu and see a repeat of that right here, right now. As look at the 71 climb the banking in turns 3 and 4. And look at the run he's going to get off potentially on the 19 here.
Yeah, that was a line right there in 3 and 4. That's a little bit of a departure right there, and not necessarily a tire-saving line right here. 10 laps to go in the stage. I think this is the point right here when you're thinking about trying to set up the pass right here where kind of move beyond that tire saving and maybe think about how you can set up the pass. And, man, he really gets off of turn 2 well. That's a sign of a driver who has done a great job of saving his tires all, for this entire run right here.
The 71 of Janik like a rocket ship down the back straightaway, looking to draw it side by side once again with Zach Taylor here in that number 19 car. This is a battle for the lead. It's a battle for the stage win here at Darlington. Lap number 72 of 147, almost reaching the halfway point here of this 200-mile Caswell Glass Southern 200 here from Darlington, live on Slingshot Racing Media. If you're joining us in the chat on YouTube live right now, we appreciate you tuning in. We got AJ Hale, Connor Lyons, some of our recent chatters. Connor, he resubscribed. I didn't know he ever unsubscribed. I think he maybe had some technical difficulties there, but it reminds me, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're loving the racing you're seeing, sure to hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a single thing. You never know, it might give a little bit of a boost to your favorite driver. Good karma out there for your favorite driver on the track right now. If you're an Evan Janik fan, you gotta love what you're seeing because he is hounding the back of that number 19 car headed down into turn number 3 and 4, just about a car length off the back bumper of Zach Taylor.
Yeah, and don't look far behind those guys. Gavin Henson is there as well, while these two are kind of battling it out right here for the lead of this race right here. Henson is just steadily, just kind of slowly catching them right here. So a lot of speed out of that 39 machine as well tonight. And yeah, Zachary Taylor under a lot of pressure at this stage of the race.
Oh, the 71, Janik incredibly loose off of turn number 2 there. He's going to have to give up second place to, as you mentioned, the hard-charging Gavin Henson. They're going to fall in line right behind the lap car of Brett Wren. Now the 19, the 39, the 71. Wren's going to get to the inside here and let these leaders by, it looks like. Fortunately, not catching him in a corner. But it's now Henson drawing a beat on the back bumper of that number 19. Gavin Henson, he's a driver who's really just incredibly come on late here in the season and just gets faster and faster, Chris. 18 races this season. 11 top 10s. He's batting over 500, closer to 750 in terms of top 10s this season. Janik in the wall again behind him. But Henson really, he's peaking when you want to peak here. If we talk about playoffs and when you want to really, hit your stride and catch fire, that 39, I think, is catching fire right now.
Yeah, he definitely is. It seems like he is definitely trending in the right direction. And yeah, what a better time. There is no better time to, to really hit your peak than right when the playoffs are about to begin. And we heard him earlier. He was talking about how slick it was out there. And, we believe it from what we're seeing and with the track temperature. And, just ahead of him right there is max stage points, with the leader of the race right there. And, what better position could he be in than possibly passing a former U.S. president up ahead in Zachary Taylor?
Oh, boy. I didn't even think about that. But, yeah, you are absolutely right. Hopefully he doesn't eat too many cherries on a hot summer day. And that was Zachary Taylor, right? Don't tell anyone I'm a history teacher, but I think it was Zachary Taylor. Correct us if we're wrong in the chat. Right now, Cole asking why it says they're lap 36 of 5. I think it should say lap 36 of 50. We're maybe, I'm not sure what's going on there with our ticker. It is officially lap 78 of 147 though, for the fans watching at home. I believe we've got 4 laps left in this stage. So a little bit of a technical glitch. Now 3 laps left in this stage.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glitch right there with the ticker, but Yeah, so it is. So the number that was on the right was showing how many laps there were to go in the stage. So yeah, just a little technical glitch right there with that. But yeah, on lap 80, at the completion of lap 80, that will mark the end of stage number 2. And we're fast approaching that, Ellis.
We're getting there, just about 2 laps away. Zachary Taylor continues to kind of pull away from second place Gavin Henson, along with the 71 of Evan Janik, who's hounding him. Those are your top 3. Derek Jewitt has kind of maintained that 4th position, along with Adam Holston back in 5th. You're not missing anything further through the field. The closest battle right now is that 71 of Evan Janik and Gavin Henson. That battle for second place. Zachary Taylor going to cross the line to take the white flag on this stage number 2. Just about a lap remaining from now. We're going to see the caution come out any minute, I believe. Actually, this is lap 80. We'll see the caution come out about a half a lap or so. I think unless Taylor makes a mistake here, he's going to collect this stage win. Henson looks poised to finish second. Janik looks like he's content for 3rd place. And we mentioned the rest of the top 5. Shout out to Alex Pollock back in that 92 and 6th position, having a good run right now, looking to continue that strong evening he's had since earlier on. A little bit of trouble he had. Right now, top 5 have crossed the line. Yellow flag should wave here in just a moment to bring stage number 2 to a close. We're over halfway through. We're getting ready for the final portion of the Caswell Glass Southern 200 from Darlington. Zachary Taylor wins stage number 2. Look out for some pit stops here in a moment. We're going to bring those live caution flag pit stops, but these are important pit stops. Chris, were you ever able to get a fuel number from these drivers? I think they might be able to make it the remainder of the race after this stop. It's going to give them about 60 laps or so.
Yeah, we never really got a fuel number. There were some Discord audio issues, kind of made things a little bit hectic for us and for, these drivers here tonight. So we weren't really able to chat them up too much before the green flag like we typically do. So yeah, we're going to see right here, Ellis. I think that, we'll see all the drivers come to pit road here as Zachary Taylor is going to lead them down. I would be surprised if we don't have another yellow tonight. So I think it'll probably be a moot point. But yeah, the question is, how long do you dare go on these tires? Because it seemed like after 40 laps, a lot of drivers were really struggling at the end of stage 1.
Based on kind of what I'm observing, that crossover point where tires really start to be noticeably bad feels like it's somewhere around lap 20 to 25 where you really start to feel it. Right now, all these drivers starting to feel good vibes, knowing that they're going to be getting some fresh Goodyear tires underneath these Xfinity Fall Creek Plumbing National Series machines as they come to the attention of their pit crew. Pit exit's going to be critical here. One position loss could be the difference between putting yourself further back in the field into the grasp of danger versus running up front. Drivers don't want to lose any of that critical track position here, not slide into their stops. One car already looking like they're exiting their pit road. That's Derek Jewitt. Let's see who wins this race off of pit road. It's going to be Taylor. It's going to be Janik. It's going to be Henson. It's going to be Jewitt. And then it's going to be Adam Holston. Joshua Gillen stayed out on the track, but top 5 running order did not change there, Chris. We're going to see if we can't pull in Adam Holston right now, running in that 5th position.
That's correct.
Hey, Adam Holston, it's Ellis, Chris, and Johnny up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy from that number 8 car.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, good run going so far. Started a little bit further back in the field. You picked up 6 positions all the way from 12th tonight. How's that number 8 car handling out here on what seems to be a very difficult track?
It's pretty loose, and I'm just babying it around here, trying to keep the tires under it. But really, it's a new track for me, so I'm kind of just trying to learn it.
Man, it doesn't look like it's anything new to you at all based on the way it's going out there. Talk to us about that number 8 paint scheme you run into tonight for the throwback race.
Well, I got the number for it, and I like the baseball scheme. It's going to make a debut in the late models here soon, and I figured I'd run it to honor Dale Jr.
Well, man, we'll see if you can't get it up into victory lane. You got anything for these guys running up front?
Honestly, I don't think so. I'm just trying to survive, maybe get a top 5, and I'll be happy.
All right, man. Well, we'll be keeping an eye out for you the rest of the night in that 8-car. Remind me what chat I can send you back to.
5-star.
5-star, that's right. All right, you're on your way. Good luck tonight, my friend.
Thanks, sir.
All right, Chris, you heard from Adam Holston. These cars are loose. That has been the story we've gotten from pretty much every driver tonight. It's been a broken record watching one car get their lap back. That's the number 51 involved in a crash earlier tonight. Morgan Cook had a strong night going before calamity struck. Here comes the choose rule. The 19 of Taylor is going to choose the inside. No surprise there. Janik sticks with the outside. Chris, you mentioned earlier before the last restart the importance of maintaining that position. You don't want to give up a row here at Darlington, and it looks like those drivers listened to that advice as they took the choose rule. They're getting ready, the one to go here. Lap 85 complete of the 147 we have scheduled tonight in this Caswell Glass Southern 200 from Darlington. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Johnny Rapp up here in the Slingshot booth atop Darlington Raceway. I should say the virtual Darlington Raceway. If you're just joining us, it has been a heck of a race. 4 cautions so far tonight, 4 cause with a handful of drivers really sustaining heavy damage. Evidence of just how tough this narrow racetrack and tonight's slick racetrack has been. Chris, these drivers are getting ready to take the green flag, and you know what potentially could be the final green flag of the night. You think there might be a caution, but I think it might be a good time for a crank it up as these drivers get ready to take the restart. We've got Connor as well as AJ Hale asking for it. I think we give the people what they want, Johnny. Pace car's off, the 19 goes, and we're green flag racing once again in Darlington. Glass Southern 200 for Mystic Racing League here at Darlington Raceway. Zachary Taylor in scored big trouble. The 92 of Pollock careens with the inside wall of the backstretch. We're still under green flag conditions here in Darlington. Race control holds that yellow flag for now. Pollock gets it going, gathers it up on the backstretch. And Chris, I think we might have just seen deja vu of the loose race car and the car behind having a little bit of contact off of turn 2.
Yeah, we'll see if we can go side by side right here. I think that I do have it right here. And it looked like it might have been some... Oh, as we got one car sideways live right here, and that is Gavin Henson into the inside wall. That's another driver right there, and don't know if he's going to be able to get back going. He is going to get back going, but... yeah, we'll see if we can go back to side by side right here. We'll show the first one right here with Gavin Henson. I'm sorry, this is the 92 of Alex Pollock. He got loose. That's Christian Barnes right behind him right there. And there goes the 92, that Ward Burton throwback into the inside wall. Some heavy contact down there. Yeah, that's an unfortunate break right there for Alex Pollock.
Alex
see if we can
Pollock
find
into
the 39.
wall, yeah. That's a big swing for Gavin Henson, who we saw really is a top 3 car all night long. See if we can't figure out what happened to that 39 Tornadoes Ryan Newman throwback machine here. Right now, Zachary Taylor still has this thing under control from Evan Janik back in second position. It's been all Taylor the past 15 laps or so. If you're tuning in for the first time, the top 5, Zach Taylor, Evan Janik, Adam Holston, who we talked to before we went back racing. Derek Jewitt maintains that 4th position, and Jacob Cochran, Chris, don't look now, but that 84, he's climbing his way back up through the field after some trouble early. Cochran back up into the 5th position in that... Is that a Buddy Baker paint scheme we said? Who was running that number 84? Junior Johnson. Junior Johnson. Famed, very renowned, illustrious driver here at Darlington. Junior Johnson with several wins here in South Carolina.
Yeah, we've got the, if we can go side by side right here, we can see what occurred with Gavin Henson right here, that number 39 machine right there. That's off of turn number 2. Gets a little bit loose, got close to that wall early on these cold tires. And yeah, he tags that inside wall pretty hard. Some pretty significant wheel damage right there to the Tornadoes Ryan Newman throwback, unfortunately.
Yeah, wheel damage is not something that is going to make your job any easier here at Darlington. Going all the way back to the 13th position, we've had a little bit of a battle going between the 82 of Jared Knopsnyder and the 10 of Joshua Gillen. It looks to have settled itself down right now. Knopsnyder on the move, started tail into the field, Chris. He started dead last in the 27th position. You can see he maybe got a little bit of the wall. 2 cars loose. Pollock as well off at turn number 2 there. It's going to narrow that fight back up. They're coming up on the 51 lap car here of Morgan Cook, who led early on in this race. But Knopsnyder trying to hold off Joshua Gillen, who's got the number 08. I believe that's Steve Gillen, the 03, a lap down behind them. Kind of sandwiched between lap cars right now. How difficult is it to drive if you're the 82 of Knopsnyder with a car just right in your rearview mirror? You're doing more mirror driving, or you're driving from the front windshield?
Yeah, I think that when you start trying to mirror drive around Darlington, I think that you really get yourself in trouble. As man, there's a big variation of speed, and I know why. It's because that 51 right there of Morgan Cook did take the wave around on this previous caution. So he's on older tires. He's trying to catch a timely caution to try to gain a lap, but I think here at Darlington, Ellis, probably more than any other track, at least any other oval, you really have to race the racetrack. You're not really racing the other drivers. You're more racing the racetrack here than just about any other oval on the NASCAR circuit.
It is a tough racetrack, and we can see as we ride on board, the 82 of Knopsnyder slides it into turn number 3 there. Great camel work to catch that by producer Johnny Rappin. There goes the 10 of Joshua Gillen, riding the playoff bubble on the outside. He makes that pass down the front straightaway and sails it. Oh, Knopsnyder is really in trouble here over the last couple of laps, Chris. That 82 is struggling now with Pollock to his inside, so he's right on board the number 10 of Gillen.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of trouble right there. I think he's going to have to maybe cool his jets right here for a couple of laps and try to, get back settled in. We mentioned it before, Ellis, in the pre-race. This is a very, very this is a rhythm racetrack. You really have to be in your rhythm, and if you get off in one corner, you can really mess up the next few of them pretty easily. Veteran drivers have done it here over the years, and man, we're seeing right here Alex Pollock all over the rear bumper of Jared Knopsnyder, trying to make up some of those positions he lost with that long slide off of turn 2 earlier.
Yeah, and he's really, talk about a driver fighting through adversity. Oh, boy, Pollock into the wall hard. Looked like the 03 of Gill kind of followed him in here, and that is something that we haven't really talked about, Chris. You saw Gill kind of fall victim. It is incredibly easy to follow the driver in front of you right into the wall if you're using them as kind of your brake marker.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, you get sort of lulled into following that driver, sort of using them as a rabbit, if you will, and yeah, it looks like maybe Gill followed him into that outside retaining wall. Not a whole lot of significant damage, it doesn't look like, to that number 92 machine we're seeing right here. Ellis, I just want to know, can you say cat skid steer loader while we're looking at this 92 machine?
Skid steer loader. Cat
Good job.
Skid steer loader. Hey, Connor, we did crank it up for you a minute ago. Did you miss it on the restart there, man? Hate that you missed it, but we did do your crank it up especially for you. He's harassing us in the chat about a crank it up, even though we gave it to him. Connor, we love you. That's why we did the crank it up. We might do one again. You never know. But, hey, that reminds me. The chat reminds me to watch Christian Barnes climb the banking through the corners here. That car is climbed up to 7th position. We're giving away a Kyle Busch diecast, Lenovo 1/64 scale diecast. If you're watching tonight, join in that chat. If you're on your phone, if you're on your computer, you got the option, I promise. Just pop up that chat. Let us know what brought you here, what driver you're rooting for. React to what you're seeing on the track. Has it been a good race so far? What paint scheme do you like the best out of these throwback schemes we've been talking about all night long? Chances are running out. We're going to give that diecast away to one of the most active chatters at the end of the race tonight. And folks, if you haven't subscribed to Slingshot Racing Media, we bring you live racing action 3, 4, sometimes 5 nights a week in the future. Make sure to hit that subscribe for some great racing broadcasts, as well as other sim racing related content throughout the week. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. There's just 46 laps remaining here in the Caswell Glass Southern 200 from Darlington, watching the number 3 car. Boy, talk about a throwback paint scheme. What am I looking at right now with that number 3 car of Michael Wade?
So you're looking at an Earnhardt throwback all around. So the front half of the paint scheme is obviously a Dale Earnhardt Sr. throwback, the GM Goodwrench colors that, the man in black made so famous. And on the back half of the paint scheme, you see the AC Delco number 3 colors right here of Dale Earnhardt Jr. back when he won the NASCAR Busch Series championship in 98 and 99. So a little bit of an Earnhardt family throwback right here. Very unique, very creative paint scheme for Michael Wade here.
Yeah, definitely creativity points on that number 3. I think it hurts my eyes to look at that 3 slid the opposite direction a little bit, but it is still a good-looking race car, that's for sure. And Chris, I think we might need to start queuing the Jaws music up, because I'm looking at the timing for 2nd and 3rd position right now, and Jacob Cochran, we saw slide back with some trouble early on in the race. That 84 is running some of the fastest laps on the racetrack. Over the last 5 laps, he has put together the fastest sector times here. And that 84, he is coming in a hurry right now, chasing down Evan Janik, who's about a 1.5 seconds in front of him. 3 seconds off the lead. We're going to be monitoring that. And yeah, you can see that right now. Jacob Cochran continuing to make up time on the top 2. That 84 might be there before the end of this race, especially if we have a long green flag run.
Yeah, he very well might. Yeah, and I think that's probably been, the fastest car that we've seen over the course of the night tonight. He ran into that trouble earlier on the stage restart. So yeah, it's taken him, a good while to get right here back into contention. Sitting at 3 seconds back right here. There's going to be a lot of tire fall off if this thing goes green for a while, Ellis, and the complexion of this race can really change when that tire fall off begins, because for a lot of drivers it might be like falling off a cliff. So it can be very, very significant, especially with the hot track temperatures. It could probably be just as much of a shift as like if you get a caution maybe. So yeah, we're going to be watching those lap times to see maybe who falls off on this long run a little bit harder than his competitors.
Well, one car that's definitely fallen off a little bit. We got Ricky LaFleur in the chat asking about Caleb Hunt. I got bad news for you, Ricky. Caleb sitting back in 24th position, 41 laps down right now. Trouble early on in the race for Hunt. So hate to be the bearer of bad news, Ricky. We appreciate you tuning in. I hope you stick around anyways. But yeah, that Hunt mobile was fast early on, but had some trouble not too long after. Watching the battle for, I believe that's the 4th position right now. Adam Holston, Derek Jewitt got a nice little scrum going here. Jewitt's about a car length off the back bumper, that 45. Last week's winner at Daytona. We were talking about it earlier in the race. This is a new and improved Derek Jewitt 2.0, if you will. Really, we talked about taking a hiatus, and right now, working with a new team, the patience and the discipline is really, really paying off for that 45 with that win last week at Daytona, and right now continuing to work on the back bumper of Adam Holston.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of speed tonight. Got a little bit loose off of turn 2. Going to try to regroup right here, put a couple of clean laps together right there. Ellis, I was shocked when I heard that Adam Holston, this was a new track for him. He mentioned it. I think that, he just got it. And, man, what an impressive run for somebody who, hasn't really, as we see the 45 machine tag the wall right there off of turn 2. Impressive run out of Holston tonight, considering that he really doesn't have, any experience here at Darlington on a very, very hot day, very slick racetrack.
Hot day, slick racetrack, not what you want for prime racing conditions, at least if you're in the cockpit. Speaking of good days, let's jump back over to 10th if we can, Johnny.
Got trouble off of turn 2. I'm sorry. That's Morgan Cook around, and that was around the leader, Zachary Taylor. It got really crazy.
In the water right now on the backstretch. He tows it to the pit. Almost had big trouble there. We're going to see if we can't find out what happened to that 51 of Morgan Cook, who was so strong earlier in this race. But while we're, let's see if we can't figure out what just happened on that replay.
Yeah, and some contact from the race leader into the rear bumper of Morgan Cook. He tried to fight it for a long time. but it eventually turned him around right there. And yeah, Cook was one of those drivers, Ellis. Yeah, he was on pretty old tires right there. Yeah, he took the wave around. The leaders were coming up on him right there. We're actually riding from the roof right here of Morgan Cook, looking back at the race leader, Zachary Taylor. See Taylor really closing up right there on entry to turn 1. Yeah, you can just see how those newer tires can just, get through the center of the corner so much better. And yeah, unfortunately, there was some contact into the left rear of that number 51 machine.
It certainly happens in a hurry. And I was mentioning the 10 of Douglas Wasaki, and I think we should go ahead and cover that story before we jump to what is going on and continues to build in the front. But Douglas Wasaki in that 11 car back in 10th position, I really haven't seen him involved in anything all night long. That car looks generally clean, and it's a white car, so I feel like we would notice if it had any Darlington stripes, but that thing looks like it did at the start of this race. And he's climbed 15 positions, started back in the 25th spot near the tail end of the field. And Wasaki is just a driver, again, we like to keep stats over here in the booth, and Doug is just one of those drivers who has continued to improve. Last couple weeks at Iowa, scored an 8th position finish. The week before at Indianapolis, a 10th place finish. And right now, working on another top 10 for that number 11 machine, and doing it in pretty clean fashion tonight. You can't ask for much more out of your driver than what we're getting out of Douglas Wasaki right now on that number 11 car.
Yeah, definitely. What a great run for him tonight, and keeping that thing clean. And we talked about it, Ellis. A lot of drivers could find themselves having some great runs tonight just by staying out of trouble right there. As I think he got a little bit high right there off of turn 2, but he did an awesome job of keeping it out of the wall. So he's showing a lot of prowess out here around a very difficult racetrack tonight with all the positions that he's gained. Another driver that's gained a lot of positions tonight is the driver of the number 1, currently sitting in the 6th spot. That's Zachary King, who is up 20 positions, Ellis, from his starting spot all the way up here into the 6th spot. Yeah, great run tonight after starting in 26th for Zachary King, who is currently under some pressure from Christian Barnes right here.
Yeah, Zachary King, really, this is maybe one of the best runs of the season. He's only run one race at Texas, so right now, and he finished near the bottom of the field on that one, so I think this is going to be an improvement, really showing what he's got in that number 1 car tonight, making it look pretty good right now up in the 6th position. Chris, battle is on for 3rd position, I should say the 2nd position up at the front of the field. That 84 has closed to within a car length of the back bumper of 2nd place Evan Janik, and I think we might be at a critical moment of the race. How long does it take Jacob Cochran to make his way by that 71? We've seen he's got the speed, but with just 30 laps or so remaining in this race, he's got to go, and he's got to go fast if he's going to run down that 19 of Zachary Taylor about a 1.5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, he is, and this is something, yeah, he's got to make the pass fairly quickly on that number 71 machine, Ellis. He's got to get around him. Can't really race too long with him side by side. He's got to get free and clear of him if he can. We saw, I think that Morgan, the number 51 of Morgan Cook, earlier, Ellis, he had that trouble off turn 2, but we saw him get to 60 laps before. Oh, yeah, that's Janik's really loose right there. We saw him get to 60 laps, Ellis, so I think that's putting it really close, for these drivers to be able to make it to the end of this thing. And Ellis, if they can make it to the end, oh my gosh, like that's going to be, that's a long ways to go. And I don't think we've seen drivers go that long all night on these tires. And who's to say who's going to be very fast when we get to that stage, of the run? Will these drivers who are up here at the front still have the speed that they've had all night long?
You look at someone like Adam Holston back in the 4th position, maybe just biding his time, maybe saving those tires. And the answer, Chris, is now. The 71 of Evan Janik tries to get down to pit road. He's going to be the first one. Could we see Douglas Wasaki actually in front of him? Could this be a benefit? Could he potentially gain a second or two and work his way back up to the lead by short pitting here maybe and getting these fresh tires early? I
guess that answered the question about whether or not they can make it to the end or not. So yeah, this This is a move right here to try to gain some track position on the race leader, but also create some separation, I think, between himself and Jacob Cochran.
Big moment there for the leader. You saw it off the corner. The 19 had that 3 coming up real fast. Michael Wade, and I think he looked in his mirror and saw him and had to make a bit of a move to let him by, but this is going to be interesting. Right now, we're watching what we believe is going to be a race that does require one final pit stop. Evan Janik just pit from 3rd position. He's likely going to have fresh tires. He's going to maybe run that up a little bit here in terms of picking up time on the leader. And when we see the 19, when we see the 84 come down pit road, we got 2 questions. The first question is, when is it going to happen? The second question is, how much time is Janik? One car sideways, down into turn 1 in front of the leaders. That's going to bring out the caution for the 5th time tonight. Big moment on the front straightaway into turn 1. That was the 82, Chris, of Jared Knopsnyder, who had a horrific crash that almost took out 2nd place.
Yeah, this started a ways back. This started, yeah, right here. Our producer, Johnny Rapp, he is right on the spot right here. That started off that corner, and yeah, it's like he was just fighting it all the way down the straightaway after, you know, that contact right there with the number 3 of Michael Wade, and yeah, he went back up the track right there. There goes Zach White, sliding that number 77 machine sideways right there in 1 and 2. So this is going to completely change the complexion of this race.
I don't want to be a fly on the wall inside that number 71 car of Evan Janik right now.
Yeah, because if he could have maintained, if it would have happened when he was on pit road, it might have worked out all right. Here's the number 77 of Zach White right here coming up onto the scene of the accident. Jared Knopsnyder up ahead. And yeah, I think he's just trying to figure out which direction he was going to go. And he gets that thing on the flat right there, gets it sideways, locks it down. Does a nice job of trying to keeping that thing under control right there. But yeah, I feel for Evan Janik right here because that's just a very unfortunate break for the driver of the 71.
Big moment right now on pit road. Your leader, Zachary Taylor, Jacob Cochran, Adam Holston, Derek Jewitt, they're all making their way down pit road, and what is likely going to be the final stop of the night. Every position matters here. Drivers got to be careful not to slide into their stall. We saw Cochran maybe back it up a little bit early just to make sure he didn't slide it in. Who's going to get off first here? Reminder, that black number 19 that we got the camera on right now, he was the first one to come down pit road. It looks close contact almost between the 19 and 84. Looks like we're going to have the same running order on the way out. It's going to be Taylor Cochran. Holston's 3rd. Jewitt's going to be 4th. 5th is going to be Christian Barnes. And I think this might be a good opportunity, Chris, to see if we can't grab a word with one of these drivers inside the top 5 to see what's going through their head after this set of what could be the final pit stop. Who do you think we should take a stab at here?
Let's see if we can talk to, I don't know if Jacob Cochran's available. Is he available here in the chat?
Let's see if we can pull up Jacob Cochran. I'm looking, I'm not seeing him on first blush here. I don't think I have Jacob Cochran for you.
Okay, well, I'll let you decide then.
Let's see. We do have Derek Jewitt. Let's talk to Derek real quick. Let's pull Derek in here from Race Chat 4. Hey, Derek Jewitt, this is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir. How are you guys doing?
Oh, man, we're doing good. That Gray Ghost looking pretty good right now in the number 45 car, running 4th position. You got anything for these boys tonight up in front of you in what's likely going to be a 20-lap or so shootout?
Well, I don't know. I hate to have that caution come out because we were good on gas and I was saving tires. So it's pretty hard to pass here. It's very frustrating. You let somebody go and when you're beating on the back bumper of the person that you let go, you would think that they would let you go, but it's racing. So, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to trying to get a win here, go back to back, and have another interview with you guys and celebrate.
Oh, man, it looked like it has been a tough night out there. Hot, slick track. These cars have been loose, and it looks like you yourself have had some moments. What do you got to do to lock back in here? What's the mental strategy?
deep breath and, not let my emotions get to me. I got a pretty good team with me, calming me down. But just deep breath, take it corner by corner, lap by lap, inch by inch, and, we'll see where we end up at the end here with 22 to go.
Well, good luck out there. Starting on the outside of row 2, we're sending you back to Race Chat 4.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, you heard there Derek Jewitt, last week's winner at Daytona, outside of row 2 right now. Cars gridded up. They took the choose rule, and no surprise, Zachary Taylor did take the inside. This is going to be a 21-lap shootout, 22-lap shootout, I should say, here from Darlington. It's the Caswell Glass Southern 200. Big moment, Chris, right now. Zachary Taylor in the 19, the leader, has been given an end-of-line black flag penalty. We're going to wait to see if we can't figure out what has happened. I believe, Chris, he is being given the penalty for being the cause of that caution as he got into the back bumper of the number 51. That is a big change for this race.
It definitely is right here.
Yeah, we're getting the restart.
Completely change it. Yep.
They're not going to hold back here. Pace car is off. There's no Zach Taylor up at the front. Jacob Cochran, the biggest benefactor of that, gets a clean start from the outside position. That's going to send Derek Jewitt, who we just talked to, up into the second position. Adam Holston, third behind him. Christian Barnes moves up to fourth with Brad T. Nelson, coach, up to fifth position as they head their way down into turn number 3.
Yeah, Jacob Cochran been fighting tooth and nail this entire race to try to get back to where he was after the trouble that he ran into earlier with the number 51 machine of Morgan Cook. And here he is with a little bit of a break, a little bit of a good break for him, fortunate break after that EOL penalty for Zachary Taylor.
Oh, boy. Chris, these boys are trying to give us hard tacks down the front straightaway here. I believe the 77 of Zach White has really made friends with the wall over the past couple of laps. And I saw some 3-wide maneuvering going on down the front stretch. Everyone's safe and sound, though. Don't worry. Down the back stretch now into turns 3 and 4. Now onto the front stretch. Cochran's got about a 3-car length lead over Derek Jewitt. Similar could be said about the distance back to Adam Holston, that Major League Baseball Dale Jr. throwback. Big trouble on the front straightaway. Several cars into the wall. The 1 is involved, as well as maybe
it's the 19 of Taylor.
19. So, boy, talk about adding insult to injury. The 19, Zachary Taylor, who was our leader, headed into that restart, received the black flag for being the cause of the caution that initiated that restart. And, boy, cautions breed cautions. That 19 has been part of both of them here. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, the contact is going to be around where the 1 and the 19 are. Yeah, and they are nose to tail right there entering turn 3. The 1 tags the wall on entry right there, kind of overdrives the entry to the corner. And, yeah, they kind of meet right there. The 1's kind of coming a little bit loose off the wall. 19's trying to slide up right there on exit. And the 2 of them meet right there. And, yeah, Zachary Taylor was in control of this race, Ellis. And the moment that penalty happens, you see what happens on the ensuing restart.
Yeah, and that is the danger of falling back, not only just because you got a lot more cars around you, but there's a mental component too, right? You got to get locked back in. That is so tough to do as a race car driver. You even hear the professional race car drivers. I was listening to Dale Jr. Download this week. I don't know if, Chris, you had an opportunity to listen to that, talking to Carson Hocevar, and he brought up multiple times just how difficult it is to kind of either zone out or maybe not be able to lock back in after trouble on the racetrack. And Darlington, particularly a technical, tough racetrack, these drivers have had their hands full tonight, and we just saw another incident that, just close quarters racing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we spend a lot of time in these races talking about it, and one of the things that, I always try to think is, super important is to, just be really disciplined. It's very important to be disciplined on any racetrack, but I think that this one right here just requires more discipline than most of them does. And not that Zachary Taylor did anything wrong right there at all. I just think that's just, unfortunately, just a racing incident right there off the corner. And it can be very, very difficult to try to, get that focus back and get that poise back, especially after, a penalty like the one that he received.
And I had the feeling that, based on what we're seeing, that's going to be the end of the day for the number 19. Right now, Jacob Cochran scored as your leader. Derek Jewitt in second. We talked about him looking for a back-to-back win after that upset win at Daytona last week. Adam Holston, who's kind of been quiet. He's been the picture of consistency all season. He's had a bit of a dip over the summer, but right now, good run going in third. Don't be surprised if you see that 8 make some moves here in the late goings. Christian Barnes and that 27 is fourth as they take the choose rule at the start-finish line. Fifth's going to be Aaron Espy, Chris. The Iowa winner is up to fifth position, kind of sixth position, I should say, out of nowhere, kind of steadily climbing his way up over the course of the second half of this race. Look out for that number 16. He might have something to show here. Right now, if you're just joining us, this is going to be a shootout. 16 laps remaining here when we take the green flag from Darlington. For Mystic Racing League, I'm Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith, Johnny Rapp up in the Slingshot booth. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. If you're not subscribed, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything, and you get free, live, amazing racing every single week for absolutely nothing. We're also giving away that Kyle Busch diecast. Get your comments in before the end of this thing in 16 laps. Last chance to let us know if you're enjoying the race. Comment who your favorite driver is. Anything goes. Right now, anything's going to go on this restart. Jacob Cochran on the inside. It's Derek Jewitt to the outside. Pace car has peeled off. They got to wait for the restart zone. Cochran's going to wait to mash that throttle. He does so halfway through. We're back racing here in Darlington. 16 laps left in the Southern 200 as they sail down into turn number 1. It's Cochran now, Jewitt, Holston in the third. The real battle is for fourth position between Aaron Espy and Brad T. Nelson. Espy wins out. He climbs his way up to fifth position to see if he can't catch the top 4, which are right on top of each other.
Yeah, great jump right there for Jacob Cochran, but that 45 is all over the rear bumper. Almost some contact right there as they enter turn 3. Derek Jewitt cut him a little bit of a break right there, decided he didn't want to try to pass him that way. Got back in line right there in that number 45 machine as they enter turn 1.
Better judgment prevails by Derek Jewitt 2.0 right after a victory at Daytona, showing a lot of discretion, about a car length back from the 84. He's going to wait to make that pass till it's a little bit more guaranteed. That's no guarantee, though, as they sail down into turns 3 and 4, getting ready to come to 14 laps to go here at Darlington.
Yeah, meanwhile, back behind those guys, there's a battle going on for the 6th position between Brad T. Nelson and Evan Janik, and Janik is going to grab the spot. New life in the number 71 machine after that caution right there. He is back on the lead lap. He is in the 6th position. And he's got pretty good track position right here in the closing stages. Oh, we got trouble.
Big trouble. They gather it back up down the backstretch. We're still clean and green here at Darlington. Evan Janik, we just watched a man inspired in that number 71 after falling back with a bad pit road luck when the caution flag flew. Janik now up to the 6th position. And Chris, that is the fastest race car on the track right now, but the yellow flag flies. We're under caution. That's Michael Wade in the number 3. Boy, they're trying to set this thing up to be a wild one, Chris. We're going to have what's likely going to be a 8-lap shootout here in Darlington. Let's see what happened to Michael Wade.
Yeah, Wade was loose right there on entry to turn 3. This is in turns 3 and 4 right here. It's like he battled loose the whole corner right there. Got that right rear pretty hot. Bounced off of the right side of Brad T. Nelson. Hit the wall. Back into the 33 and just gets that car all kinds of out of shape and sideways right there. And yeah, with this hot track temperature that we have here tonight, with the, the hot temperatures on the Darlington Raceway. Ooh, Henson and White also get tangled up in that deal, Ellis. It just makes it really hard to hold on to your car once it gets a little bit sideways.
And, man, Gavin Henson, just the night has gone from bad to worse from that 39. That was a car, running up in 3rd position, as high as 2nd earlier in this race. He is he's pretty much, I believe, based on my stats, he has locked his way into the playoffs, but was looking to continue that momentum, and it has been tough going tonight in the second half of the race for Henson. Caution is out, lap 136 of 147. We are getting down to the wire, folks. If you're watching, you want to share this racing with some of your friends at home, shoot them a text with the link to this race. Get them in here. Enjoy the final laps with them. It's going to be a wild one indeed. Before we do that, we're going to jump to a 30-second commercial break. We're going to hear from our friends over at Amsoil before we set this thing up for an amazing shootout. Stick around. We'll be back in 30 seconds. If you are just tuning in, you chose the right time, folks. Live here from Darlington. We're getting ready for an 8-lap shootout after a caution just put us under yellow here. Several cars having trouble down into turn number 1. The choose rule is in effect. Jacob Cochran chooses the inside. Derek Jewitt, second place, chooses the outside. Boy, Derek Jewitt had something, I feel like, for that 84, Chris, on that last restart. I think we might be in for an epic battle once again here in the closing laps of Darlington. What are you telling Adam Holston back there in third if you're his crew chief on top of the box? You got any words of wisdom for that 8 right now?
Yeah, I would say try to take advantage of anything that might go on right here in the first row. We've seen some cars struggle with some tire spin, especially with the laps that these drivers have on their tires now. Not a lot of laps, but 15 laps, and that's still, you know, their tires are still going to get a little bit hotter right there. And so we've seen some tire spin on these restarts, and Ellis, that's probably the easiest way to pass these guys, you know, if there's tire spin or if there's contact. So yeah, I'm definitely going to tell my driver right there to be on the lookout for that right here and try to take advantage of it.
Well, these drivers going to be trying to take advantage of each other here with just 8-9 laps remaining here on this restart. You're going to see it all live from the view of the Whiplash sim cams operated by our producer Johnny right now. Cochran hits that throttle.
Oh, we got
Derek
trouble.
Jewitt, big trouble. Leaders, calamity across the front stretch, across the line, the top 5. Man, what just happened? I think Derek Jewitt on 16-lap-old tires very well might have spun those tires, Chris. We were just talking about it. What just happened?
Yeah, it's so easy to do here, especially I've been talking about that outside lane all night tonight. And yeah, let's watch Derek Jewitt right here at the time that he accelerates. You can see the jump from the 84, and yeah, that thing just, yeah, he just spins the rear tires, and yeah, you see all those drivers right behind him, unfortunately, get collected as well. He wasn't the only one who spun the tires. We saw other drivers kind of get a little bit side. Yeah, we saw him get kind of sideways right there, but all kinds of other drivers were also struggling getting sideways as well.
And Evan Janik, your points leader, is involved. Aaron Espy, who had a top 5 run going, got caught up in that incident. This was a game-changing incident. It really changes the complexion in some ways of the top 5, Chris, because suddenly you got Jacob Cochran up still in the lead. He was out of the danger zone, so to speak, there. But we got Adam Holston, who's now going to be starting alongside him on this restart in second position. But Andrew Shobe, where did that 69 car come from here? On lap 140, he's up to third position.
Yeah, he is. He's up to third right here, and that's just by staying out of trouble right there, just avoiding all the calamity that we've seen right here. And we saw him with a little bit of fender damage earlier in the night, and it looks like he's elected to get that fixed. I don't know if he did it by, you know, the old-fashioned way, by waiting on pit road to get it fixed, or if he did decide to take that fast repair, you know, in the closing stages right here. But, yeah, he finds himself in a really good position right here, and yeah, if I'm Adam Holston right here, I got a difficult decision to make here on this restart, Ellis, when it comes to the choose. Do I decide to start on the outside side-by-side with the leader and, you know, run the risk of maybe spinning the tires? We've seen all kinds of drivers loose on the outside lane all night tonight on the restarts. Or do I go the safe route and decide to start right behind the race leader, Jacob Cochran, inside of row 2? It's a difficult choice right here.
I do not envy that choice at all. He's got a couple choices he can make. Right now, we've only really got one choice, and that is to hear from our final partner tonight. They're bringing you all the cameras. This broadcast would not be possible without 2 things. First of all, Johnny Rapp, who's operating the cameras, but Whiplash Sim Cams are going to be right back after we hear from our partner's final break of the race. Green flag action coming up the rest of the way. We will be right back. And Chris, he's taking the outside. All right, back here getting ready for a 5-lap shootout, Saturday night style, although it's Thursday here at Darlington. The Caswell Glass Southern 200 for Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing Series. Folks, this thing is going to be wild. As Jacob Cochran on the inside, that 84. Adam Holston on the outside. What's going to happen? Last time we had a restart, the outside line spun their tires. We'll see if Holston can do one better here. Cochran's waiting for that restart zone. He goes. He's away cleanly. A couple cars might have spun their tires. Holston has trouble going, but so does Shobe. They all get lined up. First 3, now 4, including Brad Nelson. Single file, 1 car, the 19, into the wall. Zachary Taylor has worked his way back up to the 5th position miraculously after being involved in a crash just 25 laps ago. 3 wide on the backstretch. Pollock, Wysocki, and Barnes. Will they settle it? They do before turn number 3.
Yeah, great jump for Jacob Cochran right here on the restart, and a great job by Adam Holston on those older tires on the outside lane to get a fairly good launch right there, and he's keeping Jacob Cochran honest right here as they enter turn 1.
Holston breathing down the neck of leader Jacob Cochran. Shobe into the wall right behind them. Brad T. Nelson is going to look to capitalize. Shobe into the wall. Can they hold on to it? Shobe down the backstretch. If he can keep it down there, we might stay under green flag conditions. The answer to that question is yes. He'll peel it off the track, back up to the lead. It's not settled yet. It's Jacob Cochran leading Adam Holston by about 3 car lengths as they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, Adam Holston right here. It looks like he struggled to get to the bottom of the track right there in turn 1. Going to lose a little bit of ground to the 84 right here. He's trying to gain it right back as one car looks like it's smoking on the inside down there. That's Zach White. Yeah, we got several cars still on the bottom of the racetrack down the backstretch.
Leaders are going to be coming to 3 to go. I should say actually 2 to go now down the front straightaway. White flag next time by. It's about 4 car lengths to separate Jacob Cochran, the leader, from his closest competitor, Adam Holston, who wiggles into the corner a little bit. Let's see if Cochran can extend that lead as they head off at turn 2.
Yeah, great job right there by Jacob Cochran. Great recovery drive from him all night tonight to try to recover from the trouble that he had earlier in the race in stage 2. He's made a nice drive back up through the field.
Caution is out right now. We got a caution. Race control has thrown the caution. Not sure what for. Adam Holston.
Like the number 1, Ellis. The number 1 of Zachary King is involved down the backstretch. And yeah, we're going to go back and take a look at it right here. Looks like King's under pressure right here from Derek Jewitt in the 45. And these guys are battling for position right here. And yeah, King tags the wall right there. Yeah, just overdrove turns 1 and 2. Got back to the throttle a little too soon. Hit the wall right there. Unfortunately, took Derek Jewitt with him right there. Those 2 drivers make some pretty significant contact right there. And yeah, that's going to set us up for a wild green-white-checkered here.
If you thought you had seen everything, folks, we are going to have a green-white checker finish. Connor's apologizing in the chat. He says he called overtime. He did literally just about a minute before. Connor in the chat said we are going to get an overtime, and I'll be darned if Connor was not correct. Connor, appreciate you tuning in right now. Your diecast from last week is headed over to you. Last chance to get those comments in, folks. We're going to reveal our Kyle Busch diecast winner here in just a few minutes or so. Right now, working. Chris, I've lost count of the cautions tonight. I think our over-under was at 9 cautions. I think Alex Pollock said he was taking the over on that. I think we are getting close.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I've lost count as well. And yeah, with the stage cautions as well, I think we might be close if we haven't already exceeded that number right here. And yeah, for Adam Holston right here, this is just another opportunity, Ellis. It's another chance right here. I think that we were going to finish kind of like where we were right there in the top part of the field. Great opportunity right here for Brad T. Nelson. Look at Nelson right up here, up into the 3rd spot. And look at the 19 of Zachary Taylor. Taylor with a recovery from that spin that we saw after the penalty. Here he is in the 4th spot looking at a possible podium finish tonight.
Absolutely amazing. And who knows? You never know what's going to happen on that front row. Anything could go down here in Darlington. Always a wild finish. Chris, if you think back to 2003, that epic finish between Kyle Busch and Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven at Darlington, decided by just 2/1000ths of a second. don't be surprised if we get something similar here tonight. Things are shaping up that way indeed, and boy, what a top 5 we have going right now. Cochran obviously has been here much of the evening, but we got some newcomers, and you never know what's going to happen. They've doubled it up. Pace car is getting ready to peel off in just a little bit, and we're going to have a green-white-checkered. It's going to be a wild one.
It definitely is, Ellis. And we got some drivers that, I'm going to have my eyes on this restart who are on some newer tires. I know we've had some cautions here, but Zachary Taylor right here, actually his tires aren't a whole lot newer, but Alex Pollock only has 12 laps on his tires compared to 26 for the leaders. Christian Barnes with only 8 laps on his tires. Evan Janik with only 8 laps on his tires also. So we got some drivers that might be pretty fast flying up through some of these drivers with older tires right here on this restart.
Just 2 laps left. Pace car is peeling off for the first green-white-checkered of the Caswell Glass Southern 200 tonight. It's Cochran and Holson on the front row. Cochran's going to decide when we get back going. He's made that decision. We get going for the final time tonight. Holson struggles to find grip on the outside. Brad T. Nelson might be the beneficiary of that. He looks to the inside of Holson. They're all a distant vision in the mirror of Jacob Cochran as they come off a turn 2 down the backstretch.
Yeah, Jacob Cochran is loving what he's seeing in his rearview mirror, and that's cars side by side bouncing off each other in the wall.
Straightaway.
Oh, Derek
Caution
Jewitt
is out. Caution is out. We're going to get another green-white-checkered finish, Chris.
Derek Jewitt turned over. Yeah, the 45 turned over on the backstretch right there off of turn 2 after a contact from another car, lifted the 45 car up into the air.
Wild ride from first last week to on his roof this week.
Yeah, it looks like he gassed it up right there trying to get to the outside of Reggie Kime, and there's a number 3 right there of Michael Wade. Hits him in the right side door. It lifts that number 45, that gray ghost, up into the air. Skids on his roof down the backstretch here at Darlington. Back over onto his wheels. What a heck of a ride right there for the 45, and in throwback fashion, I think he's put that thing in gear and let it keep on rolling.
Well, man, I was going to say, if that thing was still on its roof, we need to get Alex Pollock in that cat skid steer loader over there to maybe flip that thing over. But we're under caution, and man, I just keep on thinking it could not get wilder. But let's talk about Adam Holson. I think he's the wild card, Chris. We saw him struggle to find grip on that restart just a moment ago. Did he learn anything? If you're Holson, can you learn anything? And if you're Jacob Cochran, for that matter, did you learn anything from that restart that you can propel and channel into this next restart?
Yeah, I think that every single time that that Adam Holson restarts on the outside lane, I think that he learns more and more about the fact that that outside lane is it's very difficult to restart in. I'm not saying that he's making the wrong decision. I don't think that you can really give up a row at this stage of the race, because who's to say that, Jacob Cochran also won't possibly spin his tires down there on the inside lane. I think it's definitely easier for the driver on the outside to do that. So if I am Adam Holson, I'm probably thinking I would love to win this race. But if I'm restarting second on the outside of row number 1, I'm going to have my eyes peeled on that rearview mirror right there and be looking at Brad T. Nelson and doing everything I can to possibly hold him off for second.
Yeah, this is, I don't know what to watch. I think there's so many things that could potentially transpire and happen over the next 2 laps on this restart. I think we're going to get the one to go this time by as they cross the line. We are. It's going to be the 84. No surprise here. Holston is going to choose the outside. Cochran took the inside. Brad T. Nelson gets the inside in third, and it's going to be the 19 of Zach Taylor, who's going to be on the outside of row 4. Christian Barnes going to be 5th, and then good old Alex Pollock in that number 92 Wood Burton throwback paint scheme in 6th position. I'm saving my voice, man. I think we are gearing up for a wild ride here for the final portion here as they work their way close to the backstretch. If you're just joining us, I think the last 10 laps or so, we've had 3 separate incidents and 3 separate cautions or so that have just really extended this race and breathed life into several drivers, including Zachary Taylor, Brad Nelson, even Adam Holston there on the outside of the front row. It's anyone's guess as to what's going to happen here, but the good news is we're not going to have to wait much longer to find out. That pace car makes the hard left-hand turn down pit road. Cochran in that inside number 84 has got to wait for the restart zone to decide when to bring the field back to green. And he mashes that throttle. We're under green tonight, hopefully for the final time from Darlington. Holston in second, but Cochran gets away cleanly. He's got about a 2-car length lead down into turns 1 and 2.
A great jump for Cochran and a great job by Adam Holston. That was the cleanest he's been on the outside, Ellison. He's got a good run off of turn 2 on Jacob Cochran.
Holston sends it down into turn number 3, I should say. This is the closest Holston has been in the past 10 laps or so. He's got one more lap to get it done. Cochran runs 3 and 4 perfectly. White flag is out here in Darlington. Whiplash Simcam's white flag waves. Cochran's got about a 2-car length lead over Adam Holston. They go down the backstretch.
Holston
hard into the wall. It's Cochran's race to win as long as he can remain mistake-free. Down into turn 3 and 4. Brad T. Nelson into second. He gets the wall. None of that matters right now for Jacob Cochran, who's going to cross the line first tonight at Darlington to win the Caswell Glass Southern 200.
Man, we saw a lot of stuff go on right there back behind the leader. It started with Adam Holston. A great job right there by Jacob Cochran to pick up the checkered flag, but man, it was almost chaos behind him.
It was chaos. Brad T. Nelson drops back to third after a last corner pass by Christian Barnes, moves him up to second. Those are going to be your top 3. Chris Evan Janik, yeoman's work. Final quarter of the race or so, worked his way back up to 4th position. Zachary Taylor has to settle for a 5th position after really a dominant car tonight besides Jacob Cochran. So that's your top 5. We're going to take a moment to collect our breaths while we wait to hear from the top 3. I want to shout out Cole 79. That is the winner of the diecast, the Kyle Busch diecast tonight. You can email us at ssracingleagues@gmail.com. Let us know your address. We'll send that Kyle Busch diecast to you absolutely free of charge. Look forward to hearing from you. And don't worry, there's plenty more diecast giveaways this season. If you're new here, tune in. You still got a chance to win every single week. Tyler Moss, we appreciate you joining in the chat as well right there at the end. With the BAM comment, I think that's what a lot of these drivers are feeling right now. Yeah. Brad T. Nelson, going to try to move old Brad in, see if we can get him into the broadcast booth, waiting patiently in Waterforce Racing. Brad T. Nelson, this is Ellis, Chris, and Johnny up in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir.
Well, boy, it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting to interview you all season long, and here we are at Darlington. You got a top 3, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is your best finish of the season. It may be the hardest track. Walk us through just how difficult tonight was in that driver's seat.
It's very tough. Them long runs is slick. It's hard to keep it off the wall. But just stay with it, man. Hard fought battle, man. Trying to stay up in the front and stay out of the mess.
I think a mess is putting it lightly, Brad. You did a good job. Did you have any close calls where you thought maybe your night was going to be over?
Well, I had several calls where I was super loose and trying to correct it, but not overcorrect it. I've hit the wall multiple times and thought I had damage and really didn't. Them cars are pretty tough, but a couple restarts at the end there was a little hairy, trying to make sure I got a good start and not spin the tires, but all in all, a good race.
Man, you did a heck of a job there in the late goings of this race at Darlington. Before we let you go, enjoy and celebrate that 3rd place finish. You got any shout outs you want to give?
I do. I want to shout out Waterforce Racing, my team. Christian, they finished second tonight. Gavin got turned right there at one point and didn't finish so well. But and I want to shout out my boys in High Towers, North Carolina. Them boys is out there. They watch the race every week. It's probably 10 to 12 of them over there. They play a little golf and watch the race, and that's our glass company that sponsored the race tonight, Caswell Glass. So wanted to shout them out as well.
Awesome, man. We appreciate them. We appreciate you. We appreciate all them tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week, man. Enjoy that 3rd place finish.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. All right, so that was Brad Nelson. Chris, I'm going to bring in Christian Barnes and let you take it away.
Christian Barnes, our second place finisher. This is a Slingshot booth. You got a copy.
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, Christian, what a great drive for you all night tonight. We saw you make up a ton of ground. I think that I told Ellis earlier in the race, I think maybe you've passed more cars here this in the last several weeks maybe than any other driver this season. Battling your way all the way from the 24th starting position to second. How'd you do it? It seemed like it was really slick out there tonight.
Yeah, stupid me to not practice at all. I wasn't able to join the practice session. I joined like in the middle of qualifying, so I got maybe half a lap of practice. So going into the race, I knew it was going to be slick from what people were telling me. I didn't think it was going to be that slick. It was basically the trucks times 2. It took a while for me to get used, or I guess feel good with the car. It took about till halfway, and I kept getting the wall a little bit, and then finally the final stage, I was truly able to go forward and start moving. And then it got crazy at the end, and luckily I was able to come out of it with a decent finish.
Well, you did a masterful job right there on that final restart, getting that second spot right there in the closing stages right there, getting around your teammate Brad Nelson. Tell us about your paint scheme that you had tonight. We saw a lot of unique paint schemes out there on all of these Xfinity cars. Tell us about the one that you had on your number 27 machine.
Yeah, mine's the Al Unser Jr.'s 1993 Daytona 500 scheme. His sponsors were Synthetic and Valvoline. I thought that it looked pretty good, and I was like, I don't think anyone's going to run this paint scheme because I don't think many know about the guy, so I was like, hey, why not? And I thought that it looked pretty good with the domino, so I was like, hey.
That's definitely a unique paint scheme, and honestly, I didn't think about it, but now that you mentioned it, it definitely makes sense. Great looking ride out there tonight. You definitely did it worthy right here at Darlington. We'll see you right here in a couple weeks, actually next week at IRP. Looking forward to seeing you get out there on the short track. Before we let you go celebrate this great podium finish, you got any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out my paint scheme maker, Alex Pollock, and I also want to thank my team, Brad and Gavin, and I also want to shout out Zach because we are actually teammates in a different league, and he was finally able to join back into this one. So just want to shout out all those guys.
All right, hey, congratulations on a great run tonight. That's Christian Barnes, second place finisher. Go celebrate it, bud.
Thank you very much.
All right, that means there's one left to hear from. That is Jacob Cochran. It's Johnny, Chris, and Ellis in the Slingshot booth. Jacob, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, congrats on the win, man. You earned it tonight. I think everything that could have gone wrong for you in terms of just having to wait, restart after restart after restart. Let's start with the final 10 laps of that race. How frustrated were you in that driver's seat? You just felt like you had it, and then a caution would come out. You felt like you had it, and then a caution would come out. How frustrating is that? And what does it take to kind of lock in every single time?
Yeah, it takes focus. We've got 2 to go. I'm coming out of 4. I'm like, yep, that's it. I got a nice gap, and we throw a caution. So, and then it just, steamrolled from there. So, it's just, trying to hit your marks, get the restarts right every time. I felt like I was getting a pretty good jump on the restarts right there at the end, and just couldn't overdo it. That was the main thing. Is this track is just so easy to overdrive, and one mistake cost us all. So, I'm just glad we put it all together. And it was rough from the beginning of the race, but those last 10 wasn't fun either.
Well, talk to us. I know you talked about it was just a difficult race overall, and we saw a couple of moments where you did grab the wall and had some trouble. How do you work through that mentally? How do you come back from, run-ins with the wall, maybe some contact with competitors out there and lock back in? You managed to do it well tonight. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, just stay cool. Don't let it get to your head, and just erase it from your memory and go to the next corner. The tires was not forgiving at all. You know, the first stage, I felt like we did really good, just kind of maintaining and managing everything. That went to plan, and then the second stage just went to the trash can real fast. So, but you know, as I was running fourth, I think third, fourth, trying to get back up to the front, I came off a 2 one time, and it just burnt the tires off the rear. And that was it. I mean, once they got hot, there wasn't no cooling them down as hot as that track was. So, you know, just everything lined up. Everything just went our way.
Man, talk to us about that sick-looking paint scheme you rolled around there tonight. We're watching on the broadcast right now. Tell us a little bit about that scheme that you're running for Throwback Night.
Yeah. So originally, I had mine done weeks ahead of time. It was Ken Schrader's Skull car, and this morning, you know, I was telling my dad about, you know, the throwback race tonight, and you know, we were, you know, he grew up in those days, so you know, he was like, oh man, best looking car is Junior Johnson's number 3 back in the 60s, man, I'm telling you. I got to looking, and I'm like, you know what, he's right. So you know, Junior Johnson obviously did so much for the sport as a driver, as a team owner. You know, the racing world lost a lot when he passed away. So, but yeah, it was an honor to run it. It was a lot of fun.
Cool tribute to him, and I guess your dad tonight, who pointed out that paint scheme to you. Awesome story, man. We're headed to IRP next week. Are you going to join us for that one? I know you're running a somewhat limited schedule. You planning on being at the short track outside of Indianapolis?
Yeah, we'll be there. You know, we kind of got a late start to the year, but we've been, you know, running pretty much all of them now. We're in the playoffs. We're ready for that. So we're gonna try to give IRP all we can, but you know, that's going to be a struggle. But you know, we're looking forward to the playoffs now. So
well, speaking of playoffs, sorry to interrupt you. Are you doing anything to prepare for the playoffs? You know, you've already locked yourself in. Have you started practicing at all?
Yeah. You know, just kind of little bits of you know, some of the first tracks, especially the road courses. I struggle, as y'all probably are well known. I struggle turning right, so you know, the Roval, you know, I'm really trying to get that down. So I find myself with a little bit of spare time, not anything to do. We'll hop on and go run some laps, you know, somewhere in the playoffs. So just trying to get one step ahead.
All right, man. Well, hell of a job tonight, working your way back up through the field in that number 84, Jacob Cochran. Before we let you go celebrate, any shout-outs?
Yeah, obviously want to shout you guys up in the SRM booth, and my team, Aaron SB Racing, Aaron and Morgan. You know, we had a good plan, and it came together for us, but unfortunately Darlington was hard on them, but we'll get it back together, I'm sure, for next week. But and then obviously Fall Creek Plumbing, Brett Wren, and for sponsoring the series, and Mystic for the league.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats on that win tonight. We'll let you go celebrate.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You too. All right, so that was Jacob Cochran, your winner. Let's go ahead and walk through the rest of the results tonight. We talked to your top 3. Fourth position tonight was Evan Janica, that 71, who really fought through some adversity as the race went on. Zachary Taylor finishes 5th, again, after some adversity. Chris, the top 10 is really chock full of guys who struggled, had some trouble early on in the race, but worked their way back up, including Aaron Espy, who finished 6th. Joshua Gillen, shout out to Gillen, man. Talk about a guy who is on the playoff bubble. He had the night that he absolutely needed in 7th. Douglas Sasaki gets a top 10, finishing 8th. Adam Holson, after late race troubles, has to settle for 9th. Alex Pollock brings it home 10th.
And as we look at the rest of the finishing order tonight, in the 11th spot, Zachary King will bring it home in that 11th spot in the number 1 machine. Reggie Kime will finish 12th in the number 9. Alan Zukov in the 13th spot. We saw Derek Jewitt take that wild ride down the backstretch late in the race right here on one of those green-white checkers. He's going to finish in 14th. Michael Wade in that great Earnhardt Legacy throwback is going to finish in the 15th spot. Andrew Schob found himself in a really good position in the closing laps of this race right here, looking at a podium. Unfortunately, he'll have to settle for the 16th spot after he ran into some trouble kind of late. Stephen Gill is going to finish in the 17th spot. Zach White in the 18th spot. Gavin Henson is going to bring it home in the 19th position. And Brett Wren, you talk about the great run by Joshua Gillen. Unfortunately for Wren, it's a little bit of a difficult night right here. He'll bring it home in 20th, but he does gain some points on one of his closest competitors, David Moyer, who you're going to get to here in just a second, Ellis.
21st was Jared Knopsider. Had a solid run going midway through the race, and that kind of went awry after being involved in a couple of those cautions. Morgan Cook, fast early on, has to settle for a 22nd place finish after a couple collisions on the track. Michael Cole in that 48, never really much of a factor after falling behind early. Caleb Hunt also out of the race early, finishes 24th. David Moyer, tough night for that number 47 car in the Davey Allison throwback paint scheme, finishes 25th. Cody Giles involved in an early caution up at the front of the pack, finishes 26th. And then Robert McKay in that number 88 finishes in the 27th position. Chris, it was a wild race tonight. And word has it, our producer Johnny Rapp's talking about racing in the race next week at IRP. Johnny, is that true?
I don't think so. But maybe in the trucks or something, you know. I don't have anything to do on Wednesdays quite yet, but that's going to be a wild one. It's a very unique track, kind of a unique line that you have to run there, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how. I mean, these cars look like a handful at Darlington. They're going to be a handful at IRP next week too.
Yeah, we're going to be saying some prayers every single day this week for those drivers next week at IRP. You can see the schedule for the remaining part of the regular season for Mystic Racing League in the Fall Creek Plumbing Series there on the right. Folks are going to be kicking off a few more series, getting back to the action on Monday and Wednesday nights here in just a few weeks with Slingshot Racing League's Invitational Series running the Gen 4 NASCARs and also the ARCA cars on Monday night. So plenty of more action ahead. You can see the schedule for that Monday night series starting in just a few weeks. And hey, you can even join that series. You can find some information in our YouTube video description if you're interested in joining Slingshot Racing League and running that ARCA National Series on Monday nights. I think that's a great schedule. So that will be a great series to tune into. And Johnny, you and Justin Wilson are returning to the booth to do it again. And I think that's going to be a great series to watch.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to it. Man, those ARCA cars put on a great show last season, and more tracks and kind of a more diverse schedule. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Chris, as we head into IRP for the final 2 races of the regular season, are you looking for anything here? Any big stories to follow as we get close to the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple things, Ellis. We're definitely watching the bubble, as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. You mentioned it, IRP, short track, Bristol, the next week also a short track, opens up the opportunity for a lot of mayhem possibly. So, yeah, I'm going to have my eyes on that right there. A lot can change around that playoff bubble. I think that Brett Wren, he did have a difficult night tonight, but he did gain some valuable points on his closest competitor, David Moyer, tonight. So, yeah, I think that that's going to be something that we continue to watch over the next few weeks. IRP is a great short track, one of America's most iconic short tracks, I think, just outside of Indianapolis. But it's a very difficult short track to pass on, so I suspect that we might see a little chaos next week, possibly.
Chaos ahead next week. Be sure to tune in. Same channel, same time, folks. We appreciate you giving us a couple hours of your time tonight to tune in some great racing. This was the Caswell Glass Southern 200 here from Darlington Raceway for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series from Mystic Racing League. This is Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith, and Johnny Rapp from Slingshot Racing Media. Folks, we will talk to y'all next week. Hope these next 7 days are wonderful for you.